You're clearly just a cannon fodder villain. Yet countless chosen heroines compete to warm your bed. But instead of being pleased, you insist on driving them away. Because you know these women will eventually become part of the protagonist's harem. While you're merely a sidekick villain destined for cannon fodder. To avoid being sealed in the demonic human emperor banner, you prepare to flee overnight with your bed plank. But at this very moment, you discover the female leads can actually hear your inner thoughts. Currently, you're accompanying your villain boss to attend heroine Lu Ruyan's celebration banquet. Having memorized the plot, you know full well your very appearance. You'll be killed by the male lead Tang-san as soon as you appear on stage. It seems I need to find a chance to slip away. Thinking this, you immediately shout to the man beside you, "Young master, I'm not feeling well, so I won't be going." At this moment, a mechanical voice comes from your brain. Plot check-in system binding in progress. What's wrong with you? Looking at the follower who suddenly stopped him and squatted in place, the villain Zhao Kai showed a confused expression. Catching on, you immediately glossed over the situation, then followed the crowd while studying your cheat system. After understanding the system's functions, you felt much more relaxed. As the name suggests, the plot sign-in system is, as long as you complete a story arc, you'll get one check-in opportunity to receive rewards. It seems my wish to slip away won't be coming true. Soon enough, your group arrived at the destination. Zhao Kai first led his entourage to where the female lead Lu Ruyan stood. After clearly seeing Lu Ruyan's appearance, you couldn't help but comment inwardly, "She's truly beautiful. I'd gladly trade 30 years of my life just to have her warm my bed." When Lu Ruyan saw it was Zhao Kai and his group approaching, she initially intended to turn away, but then a sudden sound by her ear left her momentarily stunned. She looked strangely at Zhao Kai before her. "Did you just say something?" Caught off guard by the question, Zhao Kai looked equally confused. However, Zhao Kai didn't dwell on it and immediately presented the gift he had prepared. "Ruyan, look, this is the gift I prepared for you." Seeing this, Lu Ruyan could only temporarily suppress her doubts. She had assumed Zhao Kai would present something like immortal herbs or spiritual pills, things Lu Ruyan never lacked, so she never paid them any mind. But when she clearly saw what Zhao Kai was offering, Lu Ruyan's expression began to show some peculiar changes. "Is this fruit?" "Yes. These are from Chen's fruit shop. Do you like them, Ruyan?" Upon hearing this, Lu Ruyan looked suspicious. Has Zhao Kai been secretly following me? Otherwise, how would he know I like fruits from this particular shop? Then I thank young Master Zhao. Though suspicious in her heart, Lu Ruyan still accepted the gift. Hearing Lu Ruyan's thanks, Zhao Kai appeared even more excited. "If you like fruits from this shop, Ruyan, I'll bring you some every day from now on." Typical behavior of someone completely devoted. The words simp or love fool were practically written all over his face. "That won't be necessary. I can buy them myself." Lu Ruyan had regained her cool and distant demeanor. Her tone carried an air of keeping people at arm's length. Yet Zhao Kai not only remained unaffected. Instead, he laughed happily. Before, when he gave gifts, Feng Qianqin wouldn't even glance at him, but today she actually said so much to him. That's right, she must be changing her mind about him. As long as he perseveres, he believes that it won't be long before Feng Qianqin will definitely fall in love with him. He. Unable to restrain himself, he chuckled foolishly. "Truly a simpleton young master. She just humored you with a few words and you're already gleeful." Yi Luyun, taking in Zhao Kai's reaction, couldn't help but roll his eyes and said silently to himself, "Here it comes again." She thought it was just her imagination, but now the clear voice made Feng Qianqin realize that it wasn't. She really did hear someone speaking. But who could it be? Her eyes swept around. "Stop laughing, simpleton young master. The protagonist is about to arrive. Are you ready to make a fool of yourself?" Simpleton young master. Is he talking about Zhao Kai? Feng Qianqin looked at Zhao Kai strangely, her eyes lingering for a moment. Yes, he really fit that description. However, the one who would evaluate Zhao Kai like this should be someone close to him, right? With a quick glance, Feng Qianqin's gaze quickly locked onto Yi Luyun's side. There were only so many subordinates accompanying them. Everyone else looked serious and attentive, except for Yi Luyun, who was lazy and listless, seemingly out of place with his surroundings. Having just transmigrated, it still takes some time to fully integrate. Speaking of which, this first female lead Feng Qianqin is beautiful, but she's also quite the hypocrite. Maybe her brain isn't working right. The first female lead. Is it talking about me? Although I don't know what it means. But the second half of the sentence made Feng Qianqin's face darken. Hypocrite. Brain not working right. From childhood to adulthood, this was the first time she had heard someone evaluate her like this, even if it seemed to be someone else's inner thoughts. Although she didn't know why she could hear this person's inner thoughts, Feng Qianqin still wanted to continue listening. According to the book, Feng Qianqin has a cold personality and rarely has things she particularly likes, except for the fruits from Chunji fruit shop. Yi Luyun didn't just casually recommend this to Zhao Kai back then. The first time the male and female leads met was when he gave Feng Qianqin these fruits. Feng Qianqin immediately felt that the male lead was different and fell in love at first sight. But when it came to Zhao Tian, all he got was a thank you. TSK. Double standards. Is this me? Feng Qianqin is not stupid. As the first female lead in the book, Feng Qianqin is not only proficient in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting, but also has top-notch cultivation talent and natural abilities, and is intelligent and perceptive. Although there are no online novels in this world, there are some storybooks circulating among the people. Feng Qianqin had read one or two before. So, am I actually a character in a storybook? No, if that's really the case, then what about this person in front of me? Why does he know these things? Why is this double-standard female lead looking at me? Perhaps because his gaze was too direct. Yi Luyun looked up and saw Feng Qianqin staring intently at him. Hearing this inner thought, Feng Qianqin, realizing what she was doing, quickly withdrew her gaze. Could it be because I'm too handsome? Bah! Such inner thoughts made Feng Qianqin inwardly scoff in annoyance. Where was he handsome? Besides, I haven't even done anything yet, so why say I'm two-faced? What a pity. Beautiful as she is, when the male lead appears later, this two-faced female lead will immediately fall in love at first sight, offering all sorts of spiritual treasures and immortal medicines, practically treating the male lead like her own father. Can't afford to provoke. Can't afford to provoke. I'd better obediently follow the plot. On the surface, everything seemed calm, but under her sleeves, Feng Qianqin's small fists were clenched tightly. So, this is what will happen in the future. Treating him like her own father. I spit on that. Feng Qianqin didn't know if the world she was in was really just a novel, and everything was pre-planned. But the memories from childhood were incredibly real. She was definitely not a puppet to be controlled by others. Chapter 4, The Opportunity for Eternal Life. Sister Qianqin. Just then, a clear and melodious voice called out, reaching everyone's ears. A stunningly beautiful young woman was seen hurrying over with quick, light steps. Xiao Yu. Upon seeing her, much of the coldness in Feng Qianqin's expression dissipated. Congratulations, Sister Qianqin. I heard you're going to become a personal disciple of the Highland Sect's leader. You'll have to look after me in the future. While speaking, she enthusiastically grabbed Feng Qianqin's arm. Xiao Yu, there are many elders here, you should pay more attention to your demeanor. Faced with her enthusiasm, Feng Qianqin felt somewhat helpless, but there was not the slightest hint of rejection in her eyes as she looked at her. Hee, I just like Sister Qianqin. Hugging Feng Qianqin's arm, Yu laughed happily, not feeling that there was anything wrong at all. Feng Qianqin simply shook her head, saying nothing more. What a beautiful lily. A sigh of admiration echoed, and both Feng Qianqin and Yu paused, taken aback. Lily, what did that mean? You didn't mention that. Not long ago, she had suddenly heard a strange voice saying that her Qianqin Jia, whom she had grown up with, was the first female lead, a two-faced woman. Seeing how close you two are, why don't you just get together? Together. Her and Qianqin Jia. The two exchanged a glance and saw a hint of awkwardness in each other's eyes. The relationship between Feng Qianqin and Yu was purely friendship. There were really no other special feelings involved. Now that it had been said like that, continuing to hug would be a bit awkward. But speaking of it, this second female lead, Yu, and the first female lead, Feng Qianqin, will both be the male lead's women in the future. Although the book doesn't describe it so directly, presumably, sleeping together, or something like that isn't impossible. Yi Luyun was a little upset that he hadn't seen this plotline at the time. Looking down on me, do you think I can't afford it? Write it for me. Write 10,000 words of that kind of description. Yi Luyun didn't know that his inner thoughts had stirred up a monstrous wave in the hearts of Feng Qianqin and Yu. What the hell? The two of them, marrying the same man in the future. Together. Although having multiple wives and concubines was a thing, they were both proud daughters of heaven, prideful in their hearts. Even if they were to find a man, they would absolutely not allow him to have other women. Long time no see, miss you. At this moment, seeing Yu's appearance, Zhao Kai also greeted her politely. Although the Yu family was not as powerful as the Zhao family and the Feng family, they were still considered a significant family in Fire Forest City. Moreover, the Yu family and the Feng family had always been hereditary friends, and the relationship between the two sides was very good. As the future head of the Zhao family, Zhao Kai would naturally behave more politely. Young Master Zhao, long time no see. If it were in the past, Yu would have responded politely with a few words. But right now, with her thoughts churning, Yu could only nod with a forced smile on her face. Fortunately, Zhao Kai's attention was mainly on Feng Qianqin, and he didn't pay much attention to others at all. Everyone. Just then, a dignified voice suddenly echoed within the bustling courtyard. The surrounding people cooperated and quieted down. Grandfather. The speaker was none other than Feng Qianqin's grandfather, and the current head of the Feng family, Feng Zhanghai. Yu, let's go over there. After all, she was the main focus of this congratulatory banquet, so she had to go over. Feng Qianqin prepared to bring Yu along. But, I'll pass, Sister Qianqin. You're the star of this banquet, I'll just stay here. In the past, Yu would always stay by Feng Qianqin's side. First, she glanced at Yi Luyun, then looked at Yu, who had refused her. Feng Qianqin realized that Yu, just like her, could definitely hear that voice. Alright. Without insisting further, she nodded and walked over to her grandfather. Qianqin. Seeing his granddaughter approach, Feng Zhenghai was extremely pleased. He loudly addressed everyone. As you all know, my granddaughter has been favored by the Sect master of the Highland sect and accepted as a direct disciple. I am holding this celebratory banquet to congratulate Qianqin and thank you all for coming. From the sides came many voices of agreement and congratulation. Everyone knew that the Feng family had definitely climbed aboard the Highland sect ship. As the Sect master's direct disciple, she might even directly inherit the position of Sect master in the future. At that time, it would inevitably be a case of one person attaining enlightenment and all their pets ascending to heaven. Many people wanted to take this opportunity to curry favor with the Feng family. Ha ha ha. Regardless of whether these people were acting with ulterior motives or were genuinely sincere, on this joyous day, Feng Zhenghai only felt extremely happy. This is what cultivators are like. Zhao Kai, as the future head of the Zhao family, naturally had to go forward to offer his congratulations. Yi Luyun, on the other hand, still stood honestly in place. Originally just trying to survive the plot, watching Feng Zhenghai surrounded by the crowd, Yi Luyun sighed silently in his heart. According to the description in the book, Feng Zhenghai was already over 300 years old when he first appeared. But in terms of his appearance, he looked no different from a middle-aged man in his 40s or 50s. Although his temples were slightly gray, overall, he looked like a middle-aged man in the prime of his life. A sudden exclamation caused Feng Qianqin and Yu to glance secretly at Yi Luyun, who was behind the crowd, wondering what was so remarkable about this that warranted such a sigh. For large families like theirs, cultivation was not unfamiliar. They each had their own family's immortal cultivation methods. Not to mention 300 years, there were even those in their families who had lived for thousands of years. But Yi Luyun was different. As an ordinary person, eternal life is the most fundamental pursuit. No one is unafraid of death. It was one thing when there was no way, but now that the opportunity for longevity was right in front of him, who would want to miss it? It doesn't matter. Not to mention my understanding of the plot, it's not difficult to plot and obtain one or two decent immortal cultivation methods. Although they may not be very advanced, being able to use them to step into the threshold of immortal cultivation is enough. Even if my cultivation talent is not good, I still have a cheat. Cultivation is all about talent. If you have good talent, then cultivation is a rapid progress. But if you don't have the talent, you may not even be able to get started even if you practice to death. Cheat. The sudden appearance of the word made Feng Qianqin and Yu feel surprised. What does that mean? The protagonist will appear later, and then the plot will officially begin. As long as I keep watching the show quietly and wait for the first plot to pass, I can get a sign and opportunity. Whether I can get good things depends on this wave. If the things signed out are not good, Yi Luyun is going to use his understanding of the plot to plan for one or two immortal methods. Waiting for death is not Yi Luyun's pursuit. Chapter 5. The plot has changed. It can't be because of me. If you have something you want to pursue, you will naturally have infinite motivation. The second female lead Yu has already appeared. I believe the male lead will be here soon. TSK. This first female lead and second female lead, one is as cold as ice, and the other is as enthusiastic as fire. It is hard to imagine that they are sisters with a good relationship. Mentioning herself. So, she's the second female lead, and Sister Qianqin is the first female lead. Although she seems a bit careless, Yu is also quite clever and good at thinking. Their families have been friends for generations. Feng Qianqin and Yu grew up together, so it's not surprising they have a good relationship. But speaking of which, they'll be sharing a quilt from now on. It's good that they have a good relationship, at least they won't fight. She hadn't felt anything before, but now hearing Yi Luyun talking about sharing a quilt, it's somehow irritating. Speaking of which, this Yu, is he going to talk about me? Yu looked expectant. To be honest, Yu was also very curious about what kind of description she would get in this novel. She listened patiently. Forget it. However, Yu's expectations are about to be disappointed. Just an M, nothing worth commenting on. What does that mean? What do you mean there's nothing worth commenting on? You're making me sound so ordinary. Also, what does this M mean? What kind of evaluation is this? Never heard of it. No, if she hadn't heard anything from the start, that would have been fine, but now that she'd heard half of it, Yi Luyun couldn't just stop there. Yu felt like a kitten was scratching at her heart. She felt extremely uneasy. Her eyes darting, Yu went directly through the crowd and arrived at where Yi Luyun was watching the show from behind. Her shoulder inadvertently bumped into Yi Luyun. I'm so sorry, young master. A deliberately weak and delicate voice came. Without much thought, Yi Luyun immediately waved his hand. It's fine. It's fine. He hadn't used much force to begin with, but the most important thing was that this fragrant breeze was refreshing and invigorating. He was just about to ask if she was alright, but when he turned his head and saw that it was Yu, the second female lead, Yi Luyun clearly paused for a moment. TSK. Was that disdain? She was originally waiting for Yi Liuyun's words, but suddenly hearing such a voice in his mind, the fragile smile that Yu was trying so hard to maintain on her face almost cracked. Coming back to his senses, Yi Liuyun said politely, "There are a lot of people here, Miss Yu, it's better to be careful." "Why is it you? I better stay away." Looking at Yi Liuyun, who was polite on the surface but incredibly disgusted in his heart, Yu couldn't help but clench her small fists. From childhood to adulthood, she wouldn't say she was loved by everyone, but she had never been treated with such disdain. How hateful. People are like this: the more they can't get something, the more they want it. "Thank you for the reminder, young master." Forcing out a somewhat gentle smile, she looked at Yi Liuyun with curiosity. "This is the first time I've seen you, young master. Where are you from?" "I am Yi Liuyun, not any young master, just a servant of the Zhao family." There were many young masters attending this congratulatory banquet, so it was normal to be mistaken. Yi Liuyun didn't think anything of it and politely stated his identity. "Young Master Yi has an extraordinary bearing. It's a pity he's a servant." "There's nothing to pity, I'm just making a living." Shrugging his shoulders, before transmigrating, he was just a 996 office worker. Yi Liuyun didn't feel anything about his identity as a servant. Anyway, he was just working like a horse for someone else. "Besides, I have a cheat now, just temporarily using the identity of a servant to blend into the plot and develop myself." Young Master Yi is really different from others. This is not deliberately flattering. Yu has also seen many servants. But because of their status, no matter what kind of servant they are, when facing themselves, they are always polite and always in a position of inferiority. Yi Liuyun, with his blend of self-respect and humility, was definitely one of a kind. "Not bad. Not bad. Can't you stay away from me?" To be honest, Yi Liuyun really didn't want to have too much contact with this Yu. So disgusted with me. Yu couldn't understand. Could it be that she was ugly? Or was something wrong with her? Does young Master Yi think there's something not good enough about me? I always feel like young Master Yi doesn't want to talk to me. It was definitely impossible to say it directly, but Yu still planned to probe indirectly. Am I showing it that obviously? Yi Liuyun found it a bit strange, thinking he was doing a good job of hiding it. He didn't expect to be seen through. "Miss Yu is naturally beautiful, capable of captivating the moon and shaming the flowers. How could I possibly dislike you?" Beautiful she is indeed. After all, how many of the female leads are ugly? These female leads all have their own characteristics, but one thing they all have in common is that they are all stunningly beautiful. Hearing Yi Liuyun praise her beauty, Yu felt a little smug. However, it's just that her brain isn't that great. If the first female lead, Feng Qianqin, is merely two-faced, then this Yu definitely has something wrong with her head. After all, she's an can't afford to provoke. Can't afford to provoke. Here it comes again. So, what exactly does this mean? Yu was starting to get a little frantic. In the crowd, Feng Qianqin's gaze also curiously looked over. Equally curious, could it be that this good sister who grew up with her since childhood has some unknown secrets? What does mean? Feng Qianqin really didn't know what was bad about Yu. Yu still wanted to probe a little. But at this moment, it's about time the male lead should be making his appearance. The emergence of this inner voice made Feng Qianqin and Yu become serious at the same time. They both wanted to see what this so-called male lead was all about. "Miss Yu, today is Miss Feng's congratulatory banquet. Shouldn't Miss Yu go to Miss Feng's side to offer her congratulations?" According to the description of the plot, this Yu should be by Feng Qianqin's side now, and then together they will notice the male lead's extraordinary qualities and be attracted to him at the same time, right? "It's okay. I've already congratulated her. I'll just stay here." Seeing Yu's unyielding attitude, Yi Liuyun didn't say much. Anyway, he was just watching a show and then collecting a sign in reward. I have a feeling that the plot has changed a bit, but whatever, it doesn't matter much to me. It couldn't possibly be because of him that the plot is undergoing such a subtle change, right? That's definitely impossible. Wait, who are you? Stop. This is not a place for you to mess around. Just as the atmosphere was lively, a sudden commotion silenced the hall of the congratulatory banquet. Everyone looked towards the source of the voice. "Here he comes. Here he comes. Show yourself, male lead." As soon as he heard the commotion, Yi Liuyun knew that the male lead was about to appear. Indeed, how could he be worthy of the male lead status if he didn't attract attention? Chapter 6: The Unreasonable Protagonist. Halo. There, amidst the crowd of family servants trying to stop him, a young man strode forward with the confident gait of a dragon and tiger, head held high and chest puffed out. Although his clothes looked rather plain, his overall aura inexplicably gave people the feeling that this young man was extraordinary. It could only be said that he was worthy of being the protagonist. His entrance was so stylish. "Master." Those servants who had failed to stop him quickly looked at Feng Zhanghai, fearing punishment. Even if he was dissatisfied, Feng Zhanghai wouldn't directly show it during his granddaughter's celebratory banquet. He simply waved his hand, signaling the servants not to continue blocking him, and frowned as he looked at the young man before him. "Who are you? Today is my granddaughter's celebratory banquet. If you're looking for trouble, don't blame me for being impolite. I am Long Tian. Woohoo, this name sounds very cool. Feng Qianqin and Yu Yu, who were originally curiously sizing up Long Tian, were startled by this sudden inner voice. It can be seen that the surroundings are quiet and everyone seems to be shocked by Long Tian's domineering aura. Only Yi Luyun looked excited, and if you didn't know better, you would think he was really watching a show. Heaven have mercy, Yi Luyun was not deliberately so excited. The plot of the novel I read before is now officially happening before my eyes, and this feeling is always different. This is the protagonist's halo, an unreasonable thing, which can not only turn bad luck into good fortune, but can also be called immortal. And it also has a IQ reduction effect, forcibly making the people around him extremely convinced of the male lead's words. The protagonist's halo in the brainless novel is sometimes even more unreasonable. Anyway, the male lead is awesome and has all kinds of adventures. Protagonist's halo. This was also the first time Feng Qianqin and Yu Yu knew that there was such a thing. No wonder, when Long Tian appeared just now, they inexplicably felt that this man was special, like a crane standing out in a flock of chickens. It turned out to be because of the protagonist's halo. Fortunately, Yi Luyun's inner voice seemed to possess some kind of magic, directly dispelling such emotions. Now, when Feng Qianqin and Yu Yu saw Long Tian, they felt as if they were looking at an ordinary person, at most feeling that the other person was very arrogant. Moreover, so deserving of a beating. Long Tian. It was obvious that he was affected by the protagonist's halo. Otherwise, on a day like this, no matter who forced their way in, Feng Zhanghai would definitely chase them out immediately. Instead of savoring this name here, this old man shouldn't know you. What do you want to do? The corner of Long Tian's mouth crooked, with an arrogant and soaring attitude. I'm here, of course, to congratulate Miss Feng and also want to fulfill the marriage contract with Miss Feng. Marriage contract. As soon as these words came out, not to mention Feng Zhanghai and Feng Qianqin themselves, but the guests present were also stunned. That's the flavor. Yi Luyun pondered the plot that he knew. The first plot point with the male protagonist is the engagement with Feng Qianqin, then being rejected, and finally leaving with dominance. After all, the male lead must first be given some unfavorable treatment. This way, when the male lead becomes awesome in the future, the sharp contrast will make the readers feel very satisfied. The first plot is pretty much like this. Anyway, it has nothing to do with me. I can just watch the show in peace. This is impossible. The first to refute was not someone from the Feng family, but rather Zhao Kai, the antagonist. The surrounding people didn't find it strange. Everyone in Fire Forest City knew that Zhao Kai liked Feng Qianqin and had been pursuing her all along. Clearly, with Feng Qianqin suddenly having a fiancé appear, there was no way Zhao Kai could remain silent. You're just some country bumpkin from who knows where, and you dare to say you have a marriage agreement with Qianqin. Do you want to die? His IQ has dropped. Seeing Zhao Kai's behavior, Yi Luyun slightly shook his head. Although Zhao Kai isn't particularly outstanding, he was raised by a major family, so how could he possibly be so flustered? Such thoughts made Feng Qianqin and Yu Yu nod in agreement simultaneously. As children of the same clans, they knew each other fairly well. Zhao Kai wasn't some good-for-nothing playboy in terms of character, he was considered quite decent. It wouldn't be acting so ferocious like this now. The most crucial thing is that the others around don't seem to find anything strange about it. This protagonist's halo is truly outrageous. Whether the engagement is real or not, what does it have to do with an outsider like you? Could it be that you are from the Feng family? Long Tian looked at Zhao Kai with a playful gaze. You. Such remarks made Zhao Kai even more furious, as if his sore spot had been poked. After pursuing her for so many years without any results, a marriage contract suddenly appeared, and Zhao Kai was about to lose his mind. Fortunately, Feng Zhanghai spoke at this moment. Enough. I naturally know whether my granddaughter is engaged to anyone. Boy, who exactly are you? Feng Zhanghai had no idea who his granddaughter might have had a marriage contract with. That's right, if you have a marriage contract, then show it if you have the guts. Hearing Feng Zhanghai say this, Zhao Kai acted as if he had found support and pointed directly at Long Tian's nose, shouting loudly. Yi Luyun was helpless at this step. Foolish young master, aren't you clearly becoming someone else's stepping stone? Marriage contract. Of course, I have one. With a crooked smile, he directly took out a marriage contract from his body, one that was full of the sense of bygone eras. This is. With Feng Zhanghai's eyesight, he could naturally see the contents of the marriage contract in Long Tian's hand. In an instant, his eyes widened. This is impossible, my son died 10 years ago. This marriage contract was personally written by Feng Zhanghai's son, who was also Feng Qianqin's father. How could Feng Zhanghai mistake his own son's handwriting? Long Tian looked even more smug. This was over a decade ago. In an accident, my father saved Uncle Feng. At that time, Uncle Feng personally wrote this marriage agreement, betrothing his daughter to me. Father. Feng Qianqin didn't expect that this marriage agreement was actually written by her own father. Feng Zhanghai pondered. My son was indeed injured in some incident more than 10 years ago. The entire place erupted in an uproar. Elder Feng's words could be regarded as confirmation that the marriage agreement in Long Tian's hand was very likely genuine. Feng Qianqin felt somewhat disturbed. Her father, whom she had barely met a few times since childhood, had actually found her a fiancé without her knowledge. It seems there's really no way to determine if this marriage agreement is genuine or not. The original plot didn't have much description either. Yi Liuyun's inner voice echoed, instantly calming Feng Qianqin's heart a lot. It seemed that only such a voice could bring her peace of mind. Her bright eyes lifted, passing through the crowd, and noticed Yi Liyun, who had a curious expression on his face. No one can verify whether it's true or false. After all, Feng Qianqin's cheap old man has been dead for ages. Imitating handwriting isn't difficult, especially in this world of cultivation. This marriage contract seems to be just a plot device used by the author to introduce the male lead. Chapter 7 Plot Correction. Yi Liuyun's inner thoughts gave Feng Qianqin inspiration. She immediately spoke. How can you prove that the handwriting on this is my father's and not someone else's imitation? Feng Qianqin's rebuttal left Long Tian somewhat speechless. How could he prove it? Feng Qianqin's cheap old man had been dead for 10 years. He couldn't very well dig him up to prove it. Ha! Shouldn't Feng Qianqin be attracted to the male lead's charm at this moment? The others suddenly realized Feng Qianqin's rebuttal. Yi Liyun, however, was surprised. Would the female lead say something that doesn't give the male lead face? Humph! A true man stands between heaven and earth. How could he do such a disgraceful thing? Listening to the discussions around him, Long Tian snorted coldly, his face full of arrogance. Anyway, there's no evidence to prove it, but under the influence of the protagonist's halo, everyone believes that a man like him wouldn't do such a thing. At this moment, Feng Qianqin and Yu truly understood how absurd Yi Liyun had described the protagonist's halo to be. Clearly, there's no evidence at all, yet these simple words alone make everyone so convinced. It's simply unreasonable. Wait. Zhao Kai panicked a little. This guy, could he really be Feng Qianqin's fiancé? You said earlier that you came to offer congratulations, so did you bring a congratulatory gift? Zhao Kai's words left Yi Liyun, who was watching the show, speechless. As expected of the fool young master, asking such a question at this time, isn't it just to be a stepping stone for the male lead? If there were no doubts, how could the male lead's specialness be highlighted? Sure enough, after hearing Zhao Kai's question, Long Tian smiled even more confidently. Who said I didn't prepare a congratulatory gift? Speaking, Long Tian then took out his gift. Chen's Fruit Shop's fruits. If it were before, Zhao Kai definitely wouldn't recognize what this was, but he had just bought some not long ago. How could Zhao Kai not recognize it? Good heavens, this guy's gift is the same as mine. Looking at the gift Long Tian prepared, the entire place was silent. Truthfully, no one expected that the gift Long Tian spoke of would just be this. Something's not right. I feel like something's missing. Yi Liyun, who was watching the show, couldn't help but scratch his head after seeing the quiet atmosphere. What's missing? That's right, where are the voices of doubt? A flash of inspiration, Yi Liyun suddenly felt like he realized what was missing. Doubt. According to the plot, at this time, Zhao Kai's subordinates should definitely be mocking the gift Long Tian prepared. Then Long Tian would kill them with a wave of his hand, shocking the entire audience, completely making a name for himself in Fire Forest City. Thinking of this plot, Yi Liyun felt speechless inside. Just kind of dumb. I don't know what the original author was thinking. You kill a servant of a wealthy family in their territory and then leave unscathed. I can only say the protagonist's halo is forcibly making it reasonable. He shook his head. Anyway, that's how the plot is arranged. The author who wrote this book probably hasn't seen much of the world. Looking around, Yi Liyun wanted to find the person who was mocking him. Why haven't they said anything? TSK. Scanning the entire scene, Yi Liyun finally realized. I remember now that cannon fodder is actually me. It seems my role is to be the one who mocks the male lead and gets blasted to smithereens. The cannon fodder used to showcase the male lead's style. Yi Liyun's sudden speechlessness made Feng Qianqin and Yu struggle to suppress their amusement. So, after all this, the cannon fodder is actually me. On Long Tian's side, he didn't know what Feng Qianqin was thinking. Seeing the smile on her face, he thought he had chosen the right gift. The smile on his face became even more confident. The canted mouth god of war has arrived. Qianqin. You. Just as he was about to say something, a voice of doubt suddenly came from the originally quiet crowd. Are you not afraid of being laughed at for giving such a congratulatory gift? Courting death. The appearance of the questioning voice made Long Tian's face darken. He didn't know why, but he had the idea of blasting the other party to death with one poem. He turned around, but found that the other party was a beauty whose appearance was no less than Feng Qianqin. His expression changed, and he directly blasted a poem towards the person next to the beauty. Just now, looking at Yu, who was shouting doubts beside him, Yi Liyun's face was full of daze. Why is it said that the person who questions will become Yu? Could it be some kind of plot correction force forcing the protagonist to take action? But the next second, Yi Liyun saw that Long Tian's palm was aimed at himself. What the fuck? With a palm strike, a powerful wave of air swept directly towards Yi Luyun. As the protagonist blessed by destiny, his appearance naturally comes with strength. Although not overwhelming, it's enough to deal with ordinary people. Careful! Yu, who was originally curious about what changes would occur next, didn't have time to think after seeing this scene. She immediately stood in front of Yi Luyun. With a wave of her sleeve, spiritual energy even stronger than that palm directly blasted over. Although she looks gentle and delicate, as a member of the Yu family, who has a close relationship with the Feng family, her family naturally also possesses corresponding methods of cultivation. Her strength might not be considered very high, but it is enough to deal with a protagonist who has just appeared. Bang! The force of the explosion sent Long Tian staggering backward. He almost stumbled to his knees. Yu! Feeling he had lost face, Long Tian's expression turned fierce, and he got up again, wanting to say something. But at this moment, Feng Qianqin stepped forward. Enough! Today is my congratulatory banquet. If you dare to attack again, don't blame me for being impolite. Icy spiritual energy surrounded the courtyard, making everyone feel a chill in their limbs. Having been noticed by the Sect leader of the Highland sect from the start, Feng Qianqin's strength was naturally even greater. Clearly, the one being bullied right now should be me, right? Long Tian felt very stifled and very unhappy, but looking at Feng Qianqin in front of him, Long Tian still restrained himself somewhat. Humph! With a wave of her sleeve, Feng Qianqin no longer intended to waste any more time. She really hadn't expected that Long Tian would suddenly attack and that the target of his attack would be Yi Luyun. You should take this fruit back yourself, I don't need it. She directly rejected Long Tian's gift. Young Master Yi, are you alright? Yu, who was standing in front of Yi Luyun, looked over with concern. Before this, Yu was purely curious about what else might happen if she added the provocation. But she hadn't expected that her one sentence had almost brought a fatal disaster upon Yi Luyun. I'm fine. Yi Luyun shook his head. Truthfully speaking, he hadn't expected that he would experience the cruelty of the cultivation world so quickly. Weakness is the original sin. The worthlessness of human life is thoroughly displayed. No one cares about the lives of the weak. Looking at the hesitant guilt in her eyes, Yi Luyun simply shook his head. As expected, it's better to keep a distance. Chapter 8, 30 years east of the river, 30 years west. The plot's correction power is truly absurd. In Yi Luyun's view, the reason Yu shouted was probably the plot's correction power. Since he didn't shout it out himself, someone else had to shout it out. He decided that before his strength truly increased, he should stay away from these male and female protagonists. However, Yi Luyun's half-step backward, a posture of distancing himself, made Yu panic. Her voice was tinged with a sob. Don't ignore me. I really didn't mean to. Please don't be angry. Angry? What am I angry about? Yi Luyun only lamented his own weakness and was even more determined to become stronger. But as for being angry, it wasn't to that extent. At most, I just thought you were a jinx. When did I ever get angry? Yi Luyun's inner thoughts caused tears to well up in Yu's bright eyes. She would have preferred him to be angry with her. Please, don't be angry, okay? Her hands involuntarily reached out and tugged at Yi Luyun's arm. This almost coquettish behavior, probably few men could resist it. However, looking at Yu's face full of guilt and her tearful eyes, Yi Luyun blinked blankly. When did our relationship get so good? It seems like we haven't even exchanged that many words. Yi Luyun understood Yu, the second female lead in the book, to be lively and agile, full of curiosity about many things, and always energetic and full of vitality. The most important thing was that she was simple-minded. Yi Luyun's inner thoughts made Yu realize that she and Yi Luyun were a little too close. Her face flushed, and she quickly retracted her arm. What's going on? Although she's sometimes a bit of a tomboy, that's only towards Feng Qianqin. Why does it feel like, after being with this Yi Luyun for a while, she unconsciously feels a sense of familiarity and lets down her guard? TSK. What a pity, the ball is gone. Ball. Yu was first stunned, then lowered her head as if she had realized something. As female protagonists, whether it's Feng Qianqin or Yu, their figures are quite good. When being hugged, they directly press against you. Her face immediately flushed red, and she lowered her head. You lecher, she muttered in a low voice. What did you say? Her voice was too soft. Yi Luyun didn't hear clearly what she said. No, nothing. Realizing what she had done, Yu quickly shook her head, indicating that she hadn't said anything. It's just that right now, everyone's attention is drawn to Long Tian's side, otherwise they would probably be paying attention to Yi Luyun's side, right? What does Miss Feng mean by this? Having his gift rejected made Long Tian feel even more like he had lost face. Feng Qianqin simply shook her head, glanced at the marriage certificate in Long Tian's hand, and said directly, I will not acknowledge this marriage certificate. How could she possibly marry someone like this, regardless of whether he was the protagonist or not? I can offer a grade 7 pill in exchange. This marriage certificate will be nullified. Pills are divided into 9 grades, with grade 1 being the highest. A grade 7 pill is already considered quite rare. Wait, something's not right. 9 out of 10 things feel off. Yi Luyun, who had returned to spectator mode, scratched his head in confusion. The domineering female lead and the angry male lead made Yi Luyun feel like something was amiss. At this moment, Yu was listening to Yi Luyun's inner thoughts. She stood protectively in front of Yi Luyun like a mother protecting her cub, afraid that someone might attack Yi Luyun again. How do I remember that? In the original plot, it was Feng Qianqin's grandfather, Feng Zhenghai, who proposed using a pill to nullify the marriage certificate. And Feng Qianqin should have sensed Long Tian's uniqueness. Although the marriage contract was eventually broken, wasn't it at this time that the female lead, Feng Qianqin, fell in love with the male lead at first sight and later began to send all kinds of cultivation resources, treating the male lead like her own father? Looking at Feng Qianqin's current state, she doesn't seem like she would be able to give Long Tian all kinds of cultivation resources in the future. Feng Qianqin sighed. After learning that this was the original plot, she felt even more that it was right for her to stand up now. This kind of disgusting male lead, whoever wants him can have him, anyway, she definitely doesn't want him. Someone come. With a wave of her jade hand, the family servant on the side, after reacting, quickly brought a small box. Inside was exactly the 7th grade pill that Feng Qianqin mentioned. Tear up the marriage certificate, and this pill is yours. After saying that, she directly raised her hand and threw the box at Long Tian's feet. Is this something Feng Qianqin would do? It feels like she's deliberately trying to anger the male lead. Feng Qianqin's arrogant performance made Yi Luyun feel a little doubtful in his heart. In the plot, Feng Qianqin should be a very gentle person. Although her temperament is aloof, she is actually very kind and warm-hearted. After all, she is the first female lead, so of course she must be the most perfect. Yi Luyun's inner thoughts made Feng Qianqin smile knowingly. As expected, this man understands her very well. That's right, Feng Qianqin deliberately ridiculed Long Tian to provoke him. After all, only when provoked is it possible to be impulsive. Feng Zhenghai, who was on the side, looked at his granddaughter's facade and did not intend to stop her. In fact, even if his granddaughter didn't say it, he would have said it himself. Out of nowhere, a person wants to marry his granddaughter. How is that possible? Right now, Feng Zhenghai is somewhat gratified by his granddaughter's change. In the world of cultivators, being too kind is not good. Occasional strength can deter villains. Huff. As expected, as the male lead, how could he possibly endure this humiliation? He looked at the wooden box that had fallen at his feet. Long Tian clenched his fists tightly, his breathing audibly heavier. When he raised his head to look at Feng Qianqin, his eyes were bloodshot. Anger. Extreme anger. How dare you humiliate me like this? Very well. I will definitely make you regret this in the future. Sizzle. With a tearing sound, Long Tian directly tore the marriage certificate in his hand to shreds. As for the grade 7 pill at his feet, Long Tian didn't even glance at it. Remember this. It's not that you look down on me today, but that I don't want you. His gaze swept around. Meeting the gazes of those watching, Long Tian said directly, 30 years east of the river, 30 years west of the river. Don't bully a young man for being poor. After saying that, Long Tian strode away. For a time, the banquet scene was silent. Highlighted by the halo of the protagonist, everyone present felt that this Long Tian was quite extraordinary. He would inevitably achieve something in the future. Even Feng Zhenghai began to murmur to himself, this young man might really have a time when he soars to the heavens. What the hell? Just as everyone in the audience was stunned into silence by Long Tian's domineering departure declaration, only Yi Luyun wore a strange expression. Dude, is that even your line? Crossed the wrong stage. Chapter 9, this male lead has no face. Others might not know what this line meant, but Yi Luyun did. Seriously, who do you think you are, the Yen Emperor? Although, when the male lead left in this plot, he also left behind some harsh words, but it definitely wasn't this, right? This plot is collapsing in a very outrageous way. The male and female leads didn't even hit it off. How will the plot progress from here on out? Whatever, as long as the main plot isn't affected, it should be fine, right? I can't be bothered to dwell on it. Just then, the system's mechanical and rigid voice finally came through. Plot check-in successful. You have received one check-in opportunity. Use it now. Hiss. It finally worked. No, to avoid trouble, I should wait until I get back and am alone before checking in. Heaven knows what kind of things I'll sign in to get. If they're things that easily attract attention, I don't have any strength right now, wouldn't that be the end of me? Yi Luyun immediately steadied his mind. Sign in. Such a term made Feng Qianqin and Yu simultaneously think of the cheat that Yi Luyun had mentioned in his inner voice before. So, this is Yi Luyun's cheat. I just wonder, what will Yi Luyun get? Now that the male protagonist has left, this congratulatory banquet is almost at the time to end. Just as Yi Luyun was thinking about when he could go back. Young Master Yi. Feng Qianqin's voice suddenly came over. Without knowing when, Feng Qianqin, who was originally staying beside Feng Zhenghai, appeared behind Yi Luyun. Why did Feng Qianqin come over? Casting a glance at Zhao Kai, who was still foolishly crowding in the crowd, Yi Luyun was a little speechless. That's why you're just a simp. You didn't even notice when the female lead disappeared. Speechless in his heart, but on the surface, he still said politely, Miss Fong is too kind. I am just a servant beside the young master. I don't have much strength yet, so I should lie low for now. Fong Qianqin shook her head and said softly, all lives are equal, and a servant's life is still a life. What happened just now was indeed the fault of my Fong family. What Fong Qianqin was referring to was Long Tian's attack on Yi Luyun just now. If Yu hadn't been there, she wouldn't have been able to react at all. It's nothing. Yi Luyun waved his hand. That's why she's the first female lead. This demeanor is simply incomparable to those little fairies from before I transmigrated. Fong Qianqin didn't know what Yi Luyun meant by little fairies, but she could tell that he was complimenting her. A hint of a smile appeared between her eyebrows. Yu, who was standing beside her, felt a strange sense of jealousy in her eyes after seeing this scene. What does he mean? He praises Qianqin Jie for being beautiful, but he doesn't say anything about me. He even called me an M. At least explain what that M means. Since this is the fault of my Fong family, as the eldest daughter of the Fong family, I naturally have to make amends. She smiled gently and took out a wooden box from her person. At this moment, Fong Qianqin's state was completely different from her usual aloofness, instead giving people a feeling like a spring breeze. This is. Looking at the wooden box in Fong Qianqin's hand, Yi Luyun was a little curious. Fong Qianqin smiled and explained, this is a 6th grade qi condensation pill. I hope young master Yi will accept it. 6th grade. Damn. Having read this novel, Yi Luyun naturally knew the effect of this 6th grade qi condensation pill. It can help people without any cultivation aptitude to get a glimpse of the immortal realm and condense spiritual energy. In this world, having no cultivation aptitude means there is no hope of cultivation for a lifetime, and this 6th grade qi condensation pill can help these people have the opportunity to pursue longevity. No, such an important pill, she's just giving it to me. It would be impossible to say that he wasn't tempted. He wasn't sure what the system could sign into yet. In case he's a good for nothing, this qi condensation pill can help me realize my dream of long life and lasting vision. Seeing Yi Luyun's surprise, Fong Qianqin felt joy in her heart. This was something Fong Qianqin had thought about for a long time and found suitable for Yi Luyun. Didn't he want to cultivate immortality and pursue longevity? This pill is just right. Miss Fong, isn't this pill too precious? Saying this, Yi Luyun still took the wooden box from Fong Qianqin's hand with feigned reluctance. Seeing this, Fong Qianqin didn't feel anything negative but instead found him quite interesting. As long as young master Yi likes it. Just a mere rank 6 pill is nothing to me. As expected of the female lead, so generous. Look, this is a real rich lady. Wait a minute, she gave me a rank 6 pill and the male lead a rank 7 pill. Does that mean my status is even higher than the male leads? TSK. This male lead isn't doing so well. Yu, who was beside her, raised her eyebrows and quickly hinted at Fong Qianqin with her eyes. Having grown up together since childhood, how could Fong Qianqin not see through Yu's little thoughts? I hope Mr. Yu won't be angry about what just happened. Xiaoyu has been quite naughty since she was a child, and those words at the time were just unintentional. I didn't expect what kind of consequences they would cause. If Yu hadn't provoked him, Long Tian wouldn't have taken action, right? It was clear that the words weren't said by Yi Luyun, but he was implicated. For a time, whether it was Fong Qianqin or Yu, their impression of Long Tian became even worse. That's right. Mr. Yi, please don't be angry with me. Yu nodded her little head quickly, looking at Yi Luyun expectantly. I'm not angry with Miss Yu. It wasn't because of this rank 6 medicinal pill. Yi Luyun really didn't care. Having read the plot, how could I not know Yu's personality? She's very mischievous. However, this can also be considered a characteristic of the second female lead, lively and cheerful. Contrasting with Fong Qianqin, one is active and the other is still. Quite a few people seem to enjoy this kind of contrast. Hearing that Yi Luyun wasn't angry with her, Yu visibly relaxed a lot. However, such inner thoughts still made Yu roll her eyes and gently nudge Fong Qianqin beside her with her shoulder. Fong Qianqin could tell that her friend Yu could also hear Yi Luyun's inner voice, and naturally, Yu could also see that she knew. Understanding Yu's meaning, Fong Qianqin, after thinking for a moment, spoke up. With Xiaoyu's personality, she has caused quite a few troubles in the past. If she continues like this, I wonder which young master will like her. I haven't. I just wanted you to subtly inquire and learn from Yi Luyun what my situation is like in the book. How can you say bad things about me? Miss Fong is exaggerating. Miss Yu is intelligent and beautiful, innocent and lively. Surely, many people will like her. After all, she is the second female lead. How could she be ugly? Yi Luyun's praise made Yu smile happily. Chapter 10, the more she's hit, the more she likes it. What can one say? She's really beautiful, it's a pity she's an M. Another evaluation like that. So, what exactly does this M mean? Not only Yu, but even Fong Qianqin became curious in her heart after hearing Yi Luyun's inner thoughts. It definitely wouldn't work to ask directly, she would have to inquire indirectly. Actually, little Yu still has many shortcomings. Sister Qianqin. Although she knew that Feng Qianqin was trying to inquire indirectly, Yu was filled with protest at her constantly saying bad things about her. Miss Feng is joking. Miss Yu is still very unique. Maybe the two sisters are just teasing each other. What should an outsider like himself get involved in? It's better to just simply agree with a few words. However, in his heart, Yi Lu-yun began to ponder. According to the description in the book, Yu's biggest characteristic is that she's an M and likes to be hit. So, does the M mean that she likes to be hit? The appearance of this inner voice caused Feng Qianqin to look at Yu beside her with inexplicable eyes. I can't tell, you have this skill. Originally, Yu was also a little confused. After seeing Feng Qianqin looking at herself like this, Yu almost couldn't help but say something. What do you mean like being hit? Who would like to be hit? Yi Liuyun's inner voice hadn't finished yet. I remember that the second female lead, Yu, was attracted to the male lead at this congratulatory banquet and began to pester him frequently. At that time, Long Tian didn't seem to have any special thoughts about Yu. When he was annoyed by her pestering, he directly slapped Yu. So, will I be hit by Long Tian? Yu didn't have time to think about anything else, curiously waiting, what's next? After being hit, she definitely wouldn't pester him anymore, right? Facts prove that reality is sometimes so absurd. After being hit, Yu seemed to feel that the male lead was even more special. She actually liked the male lead even more for hitting her. He was also beaten a few times in between, and then he just liked it more and more with each beating and couldn't live without it. If this isn't an M, then who would be? Back when he first read this part of the plot, Yi Lu-yun felt it was quite absurd. Could there really be a female lead like this? Probably written by a fat author who hasn't met many women and doesn't know how to describe them, so he forces it like this. So, was my original life like this? Constantly getting hit, unable to leave Long Tian. Then does that mean I'm actually a masochist? Wait, that's not right. That's not me. This hasn't happened yet. How could I possibly like that annoying guy? Feng Qianqin silently turned her head, afraid that Yu would see the smile on her face. Young master seems to be looking for me. The banquet was almost over. Yi Lu-yun noticed that Zhao Kai was looking around as if searching for something. Yi Lu-yun immediately said something to Feng Qianqin and Yu. I'll take my leave first. After speaking, he left directly, still waiting to go back earlier to try out the system's check-in function. After Yi Lu-yun left, Yu naturally no longer needed to hold back and spoke directly to Feng Qianqin. Sister Qianqin, I'm really not that kind of person. Cough, cough. Clearing her throat and coughing twice, Feng Qianqin restrained the smile on her face and said to Yu with a serious expression. It's normal to have certain hobbies. Perhaps everyone has some little hobbies that are best kept to themselves. No, I really don't. Even so, she could never have such a small hobby. Seeing that nothing she said was of any use, Yu became even angrier. Next time I see that disgusting guy, I'm definitely going to teach him a lesson. Even if she liking to be hit, it would definitely not be by that disgusting guy. The person Yu was talking about was naturally Long Tian. Hearing Yu say this, Feng Qianqin also became serious. Regarding the so-called protagonist of destiny, Feng Qianqin's impression of him now could be said to be very poor. Yi Lu-yun, who had already left, was unaware of the conversation between the two female leads. He naturally approached Zhao Kai. Young master, you've come. Zhao Kai was quite impressed with Yi Lu-yun for helping him recommend the gift. He nodded first, his gaze continuing to scan the surroundings. Where exactly did Qianqin go? Zhao Kai had been eagerly pressing forward, assuming that Feng Qianqin was constantly by the side of Feng Zhenghai, the head of the Feng family. He didn't expect to discover that Feng Qianqin had already left after pushing his way through for so long. He should have known better than to push his way over. Perhaps she had something to attend to and left early. Yi Lu-yun was aware of this, but he didn't plan on saying it. Not for any other reason, but rather, don't bother looking. Finding her will probably just be a waste of time simping. I might as well go back earlier and not delay my check-in. Is that so? Zhao Kai didn't suspect anything and nodded in disappointment. However, Zhao Kai quickly regained his spirits. Indeed, Qianqin must like me. Upon hearing this, Yi Lu-yun was bewildered. Seriously, where does your confidence come from to actually say something like that? Noticing the surprise in Yi Lu-yun's eyes, Zhao Kai not only didn't feel anything amiss but confidently explained. Qianqin publicly broke off the engagement with that poor kid. With Qianqin's original personality, she definitely wouldn't have done such a thing. Yi Lu-yun didn't speak but nodded. At the time, when Yi Lu-yun saw this scene, he was also very surprised. So, she must be doing it for me. Yi Lu-yun didn't speak, mainly because he really didn't know what to say. Putting everything else aside, his mentality is really good. You are the real cockroach. Otherwise, why would Qianqin only accept mine when they're both from Chen's fruit shop and not that poor kid's? Why? It's because she likes me. Zhao Kai didn't care about anything else and continued to analyze. And the more he analyzed, the more excited he became. Young master is indeed intelligent, seeing right through Miss Feng's thoughts. What else can I do? Think whatever you want, Yi Luyun agreed with a perfunctory expression. At this moment, Zhao Kai had no mind to pay attention to anything else. Seeing Yi Luyun agree with his analysis, Zhao Kai was even more delighted. Don't worry. Thinking of something, Zhao Kai suddenly patted Yi Luyun's shoulder seriously. You helped me come up with this congratulatory gift. I won tea for get your contribution. After we go back, this young master will reward you handsomely. Putting everything else aside, Zhao Kai was definitely not just talking about the things he had promised. After returning to the Zhao mansion, Yi Luyun had an extra small cloth bag in his hand, which contained 10 high-grade immortal stones neatly arranged. This was the reward Zhao Kai had mentioned. Chapter 11 9 Revolutions Mysterious Skill, Achieving Sainthood Through the Physical Body. What else can you call him but a fool young master? So generous. He immediately put away all 10 high-grade immortal stones. Who would complain about having too much money? On the other side, I thought that after parting, I wouldn't hear Yi Luyun's inner thoughts anymore. Feng Qianqin and Yu Yu, who were cultivating their qi, listened attentively to the voice in their ears, full of anticipation. Although he was a house servant, because he was Zhao Kai's trusted aide, Yi Luyun also had his own separate residence and a small courtyard in this mansion. This treatment room and board provided, and the salary isn't low either, is a godsend for wage slaves. Before transmigrating, after working so hard for so long, I was still living in a rented apartment, and I never dared to imagine a job with such benefits. Yi Luyun didn't forget the most important thing at the moment. This rank 6 Qi condensation pill should be enough for me to condense spiritual energy, right? Yi Luyun wasn't sure if he had the talent for cultivation, but with this pill, even if his talent was lacking, he could still successfully enter the path. It's just a pity. Without a corresponding cultivation method, even if I eat it directly, I won't be able to circulate this spiritual energy. I should wait until I have a cultivation method before eating it. That's right. Originally, Feng Qianqin was quite happy when she saw that the pills she had given were very useful to Yi Luyun. Hearing this, she realized that she had still been negligent. Yi Luyun didn't have a method for cultivating immortality, so even if he took such pills, he wouldn't be able to circulate spiritual energy. Careless. But it doesn't matter, she could always give more. Although the family's immortal cultivation methods couldn't be given away. But soon, she would join the Highland Sect. At that time, taking a few immortal cultivation methods from the Highland Sect and giving them to Yi Luyun shouldn't be a problem, right? Yes. Let's do that. She just didn't know, if the sect leader of the Highland Sect were to find out that the disciple she had taken a fancy to had already started planning to give away their Highland Sect's immortal cultivation secrets to others before even formally joining the sect, what would their reaction be? Sign in. Sign in. For his first time signing in, it was already quite good that Yi Luyun had been able to endure until now without using it. System, is there any procedure before signing in? Anyway, he was the only one in the entire courtyard, so Yi Luyun didn't need to silently recite it in his heart and directly spoke out loud. Responding to Yi Luyun was still silence. Alright, I forgot that my cheat was like a single-player game without any intelligence. TSK, hopefully, the rewards for signing in won't be so rigid either. Don't give me any trash. With such thoughts, Yi Luyun immediately used his only sign-in opportunity. System, sign me in. For a moment, Feng Qianqin and Yu Yu became curious, wanting to know what Yi Luyun would get. Although it doesn't have much intelligence, it's still quick when using functions. The system's reaction was still very fast. As soon as Yi Luyun finished speaking, the system's mechanical voice echoed in Yi Luyun's mind. Sign-in successful. Obtained, 9 revolutions mysterious skill. 100 years of cultivation experience. Holy crap! The moment the reward appeared, Yi Luyun was directly stunned. What the hell? Hiss. In the next second, all the information about the 9 revolutions mysterious skill directly entered Yi Luyun's brain. The amount of information was so vast that Yi Luyun couldn't help but gasp. What's wrong? The sudden change in his inner voice made Feng Qianqin and Yu Yu think that something unexpected had happened to Yi Luyun, and they couldn't help but worry. Fortunately, Yi Luyun's inner voice quickly resounded again. Good heavens, 9 revolutions mysterious skill. Holy crap! 9 revolutions mysterious skill. The name of this immortal technique made the 2 female leads feel puzzled. They pondered for a long time, but they couldn't recall anything about this immortal technique. They had never heard of it, so, did it not belong to their world? The people of this world didn't know what the 9 revolutions mysterious skill represented, but Yi Luyun knew it very well. Back then, Pangu created the heavens, and his body transformed into all things. Among them, the Wu tribe, born from the essence and blood of the great god Pangu, cultivated the 9 revolutions mysterious skill. Relying on this, it was still an immortal technique that could directly lead to the great path. If I remember correctly, when the 9 revolutions mysterious skill reaches its highest level, the 9th revolution, one can directly become a saint through physical body, becoming a sage. Don't underestimate just becoming a saint through the physical body, but merely becoming a saint is enough to explain everything. The strongest realm in this novel should be God Emperor, right? After all, this is a typical dragon-like protagonist novel focused on face slapping, not emphasizing realm cultivation. Anyway, the male lead is invincible all the way, sweeping across everything. The strongest God Emperor realm is just about moving mountains and filling seas at a stretch, maybe moving stars and swapping constellations. Such inner thoughts left the female lead somewhat bewildered. What does he mean? Moving mountains and filling seas, moving stars and swapping constellations isn't that terrifying enough? You have to know, in the recent 100 years, no one has been heard of reaching the God Emperor realm. That's already very strong, okay? If you were to put a sage from the primordial world into this world, Yi Luyun pondered for a moment and came to a conclusion. A single finger from a sage should be able to crush a whole bunch of God Emperors, right? After all, they are beings capable of destroying and reshaping worlds at will. The simplest example is from the investiture of the gods period. The Sect sage, Tongtian Jiaozhu, ganged up on by his own brothers and outsiders, got angry and directly wanted to destroy the primordial world and reenact the earth, water, wind, and fire calamity. If Hong Jun hadn't intervened, the prehistoric world might really have been destroyed. Originally, when Yi Luyun spoke of the 9 revolutions mysterious technique and achieving sainthood through the physical body, Feng Qianqin and the others didn't think much of it, simply assuming it was a cultivation method. After all, they weren't from the same world and their perspectives were different. Achieving sainthood through the physical body should just be similar to body tempering immortal techniques, right? But the result you're telling me, the sainthood through the physical body you're talking about can crush a group of God Emperors with a single finger. No, are you kidding me? Although I really want to say it's impossible, this is, after all, a voice from Yi Luyun's heart, and there's no need for him to say anything false. Hiss. Realizing this, the female protagonists couldn't help but gasp. Moreover, this 9 revolutions mysterious technique doesn't have high requirements for aptitude. Even a fool can master it as long as they spend the time, it's just that the time required is a bit exaggerated. In the prehistoric world, years are not recorded, a blink of an eye is 10,000 years. This refers to the cultivation methods of the prehistoric world. Once you enter seclusion, 10,000 years may pass. Especially with body refinement immortal techniques like the 9 revolutions mysterious technique, the time required is even greater. Damn! If I go into secluded cultivation in the future, won't the entire plot of the book have passed by the time I open my eyes again? If that's the case, then what's the point of me going into secluded cultivation? Chapter 12, First Revolution of the Mysterious Technique, officially stepping onto the immortal path. Secluded cultivation is impossible, it's impossible in this lifetime. What if I miss some plot points? Wouldn't I even lose the chance to sign in? Right, there seems to be another reward. A century of cultivation experience. Suddenly remembering, this sign-in result, besides the 9 revolutions mysterious technique, also had another reward. A century of cultivation experience. Just as Yi Luyun was about to check, the relevant information entered Yi Luyun's mind. Yi Luyun had already received the 9 revolutions mysterious technique, so this kind of information was nothing. I see. He also understood what this century of cultivation experience represented. It can allow me to have 100 years of cultivation experience out of thin air in a certain matter. It's equivalent to directly having 100 more years of cultivation time than others. Numb. Truly numb. Ever since they learned that the strongest God Emperor realm in their world could only be crushed by a saint, the female protagonists had already felt numb. Now, upon learning that Yi Luyun could directly skip 100 years of cultivation experience, hiss. At this moment, they finally understood what Yi Luyun meant by cheating. This is the real cheating, right? That male protagonist Long Tian is nothing. Obviously, Yi Luyun at this moment was unaware of the female protagonist's situation. Now that he knew the effect of 100 years of cultivation experience, there was no need to hesitate. He directly added all of this century's worth of cultivation experience to the 9 revolutions mystic technique. Huff! In just a moment, a wave of heat emanated from Yi Luyun's body, turning him completely red. Crack, crack! Cracking sounds continuously echoed from all the bones in his body. As expected, it hurts. Even though he was prepared, the pain still made him grimace. After all, a body refining technique is definitely different from a technique that cultivates spiritual energy. Fortunately, this feeling came quickly and left just as fast. At the same time, first transformation of the mysterious art. Break! Bang! Surging air currents swept out from Yi Luyun's center, heading towards the surroundings. His entire aura, as well as his life level, completed a transformation at this moment. At this moment, Yi Luyun had truly, in the real sense, stepped into the realm of cultivation. However, this also illustrates the difficulty of cultivating the 9 transformations mysterious art. 100 years only for the first transformation, who knows how long it will take to achieve the 9th transformation. Huff! While regulating his breathing, Yi Luyun glanced at the courtyard in front of him. Because of what just happened, some of the flowers and plants in the courtyard had been broken. Fortunately, this was a separate courtyard, so there was no need to worry about being seen by others. The current me should be considered a human immortal realm cultivator, right? The realms corresponding to the 9 revolutions mysterious technique are divided into human immortal realm, earth immortal realm, celestial immortal realm, mystic immortal realm, golden immortal realm, grand unity golden immortal, grand luo golden immortal, quasi-sage, and finally, the saint realm. A total of 9 realms, each corresponding to one of the 9 revolutions of the mysterious technique. The first revolution of the mysterious technique is naturally the human immortal realm. Speaking of which, the realms in this world also seem to be 9. Yi Luyun stroked his chin, pondering the descriptions of the realms in the novel. They are the initial entry realm, apprentice realm, martial warrior realm, martial master realm, martial king realm, martial god realm, god king realm, god emperor realm, and finally, the god emperor realm. The realm divisions are a bit rough. Probably the author of this book was only thinking about how to write the male lead slapping faces and didn't pay much attention to cultivation at all. Originally, the heroines didn't think much of the cultivation system in their own world, but now, after taking a look, it really is rough. If you don't have the ability, what kind of novel are you writing? Sleep, sleep, finally at peace. Yi Luyun was stretching his muscles and feeling his own power. His expression became much more relaxed. Originally, without strength, he always felt insecure. But now, if the male lead has the ability, let him try jumping in front of me again. Let's see if I can beat the shit out of him. What's the next plot point again? Oh, right, it seems to be an auction. Long Tian, as the protagonist, obtained a good item from among the unremarkable auction items. The author arranged it this way, probably wanting the protagonist to increase his strength in the early stages. If it wasn't arranged this way, how could the protagonist become stronger? Forget it, there are still a few days anyway. When the time comes, I'll go watch a show and claim another sign-in opportunity. The first sign-in reward directly gave me the 9 revolutions mystic technique. With this kind of situation, Yi Luyun was increasingly looking forward to what kind of good things would be triggered next. Sleep, sleep. In a great mood, Yi Luyun went directly back to his room. As for the situation in the courtyard, there was no need to pay too much attention to it. Other servants would come to clean it the next day. Seeing that Yi Luyun was preparing to sleep, the female leads withdrew their thoughts. They began to think about the next plot point that Yi Luyun had mentioned. Obtain good things from the auction. Humph. See if I'll give you the chance then. Regarding Long Tian, the male lead, neither Feng Qianqin nor Yu had any favorable impressions. Let's cultivate first. Feng Qianqin was able to reach her current cultivation level not only because of her innate talent but also because of her own hard work. Even when sleeping, she doesn't forget to condense spiritual energy. Yu, on the other hand, couldn't calm her heart to continue cultivating. Her face was filled with anticipation. We'll be able to meet soon. For Yu, the arrival of the next plot point also meant that she would soon be able to meet Yi Luyun again. She didn't know why. Even though they had only met today, Yu had a different feeling about Yi Luyun. From childhood to adulthood, it was the first time she had met such a special man. It could be said that she had developed an infinite curiosity about Yi Luyun. Right, system, do you have any character templates? Yi Luyun, before going to sleep thinking of something, curiously asked his system. There was no response. However, a virtual panel that only Yi Luyun could see appeared before his eyes. Plot check in system. Host, Yi Luyun. Race, human. Immortal technique, 9 revolutions mystic technique. First revolution of mystic technique. Cultivation experience, none. The template was a bit monotonous, but it suited the identity of this artificial intelligence system quite well. There was nothing much to see. Yi Luyun was just curious if this thing existed. After taking a glance, Yi Luyun closed it and soon drifted off to sleep. So it wasn't a dream. The next day, stretching as he walked out of the room. Looking at the familiar courtyard, Yi Luyun couldn't help but sigh. He had really transmigrated, and, clenching his fist, Yi Luyun could clearly feel the powerful strength brought by the first revolution of the 9 revolutions mystic technique. Brother Yi! Just then, a shout came from outside the courtyard gate. The young master wants you to come over. Chapter 13, Alluring but not seductive, a new female lead. When Yi Luyun arrived at the front hall, he saw Zhao Kai, who looked listless and drowsy. This guy probably didn't sleep all night because he was too excited. It was exactly as Yi Luyun had thought. Because he had confidently imagined that Feng Qianqin also liked him, Zhao Kai had been thinking about this all night. He had completely forgotten to sleep. Young master, you wanted to see me. Yi Luyun was also curious about why Zhao Kai had asked him to come over so early in the morning. See you? No. But to his surprise, Zhao Kai looked completely puzzled at Yi Luyun's question and didn't know anything about it. What does this mean? If Zhao Kai didn't ask for him, then who could it be? It was me. Just then, a voice came from behind Yi Luyun. Whether it was intentional or natural, the voice had a captivating quality to it. He turned his head to look. Hiss! Even Yi Luyun, who had already witnessed the beauty of the first and second female leads, couldn't help but gasp when he saw her face. It wasn't that her appearance was more beautiful than Feng Qianqin's and Yu Yu's. It was simply that she possessed a special aura, alluring but not bewitching. It made people couldn't help but feel their hearts stir. Madam! Yi Lu-yun, who seemed to realize something, suddenly recovered from his daze and addressed her politely. Good heavens, why has Lu Jianan appeared at this moment? According to the plot's arrangement, this female lead should appear later. A new female lead has appeared. At the same time, Feng Qianqin and Yu both understood something from Yi Liuyun's inner voice. Qianqin, what's wrong? At this moment, inside the Feng residence, Feng Qianqin was having breakfast with her grandfather, Feng Zhanghai. Seeing his granddaughter suddenly stop moving, Feng Zhanghai asked with a puzzled expression. And nothing. Feng Qianqin, having come to her senses, simply shook her head. I'm done eating. I'm going back to my room to continue cultivating. Feng Qianqin had always been meticulous about cultivation, so Feng Zhanghai didn't suspect anything. Well, you'll be officially heading to the Highland Sect in a few days. It's good to rest a bit these days. Once she gets to the Highland Sect, she probably won't have time to rest. I understand. Nodding, Feng Qianqin left. In comparison, Yu Yu's side was much simpler, with a curious, melon-eating expression. Lu Jianan. That name seems to be the wife that the Zhao family's had just married not long ago. In terms of seniority, she is also considered Zhao Kai's elder. Sure enough, am I also a female lead? Since yesterday, she had been hearing that inexplicable voice. As a smart woman, Lu Jianan quickly accepted it and realized where the voice was coming from. Now, listening to Yi Liuyun's inner thoughts, Lu Jianan understood. On the surface, however, she said with a smile, I heard about what happened at yesterday's congratulatory banquet. I didn't expect someone as capable as you to be by little Kai's side, so I wanted to meet you. Madam is too kind. He hadn't expected that this was the reason she had sought him out. The plot is gradually becoming more and more absurd. It feels a bit chaotic. Oh well, as long as the following plot doesn't disappear for no reason, that's good enough. Yi Lu-yun wore a humble expression. Zhao Kai, on the other hand, felt very uncomfortable with Lu Jianan addressing him in the tone of an elder. She was clearly not that much older than him. But since she was his father's new wife, Zhao Kai couldn't say anything. Whereas my dad, Zhao Kai's biological mother had died early and his father hadn't remarried in all these years. It was normal to feel unaccustomed to him suddenly marrying someone now. Even Zhao Kai's tone towards Lu Jianan became somewhat impolite. But Lu Jianan seemed used to it, not minding at all, and just smiled and explained. The master is still in seclusion right now. I reckon he won't be out for quite a few days. Is that so? He has been in seclusion before. It's common for cultivators to seclude themselves for years or just a few months. Zhao Kai didn't suspect anything. I'll be off then. Zhao Kai, not wanting to interact too much with Lu Jianan, left directly. Oh, right. Before leaving, however, Zhao Kai looked at Yi Lu-yun, who had been called over by Lu Jianan, and said a word. This is my man. If you lay a hand on him for no good reason, my father won't let you off. This was worry that Lu Jianan would act against her own subordinates. TSK. If you put it that way. Silly young master, I promise I'll fleece you a little less in the future. That's right, a little less, but not none at all. What a great scapegoat if I don't use him. Wouldn't that be a pity? Listening to Yi Liuyun's inner thoughts, Lu Jianan was filled with smiles, but on the surface, she was still serious as she spoke to Zhao Kai, indicating that Zhao Kai didn't need to worry. Don't misunderstand, I just heard that one of the servants in my family is talented, so I just wanted to meet him. Without replying, Zhao Kai left directly. Watching Zhao Kai's departing figure, Yi Lu-yun gradually gathered his thoughts. Speaking of which, Zhao Kai's father, Zhao Feng, this closed-door cultivation will probably last for a long time. After all, he's the villain's father, how could he appear so early? Moreover, once Zhao Kai's father appears, it means that there is definitely a major plot coming. According to the description of the plot, when Zhao Kai's father comes out of seclusion, the Zhao family will be close to destruction. However, I guess no one would have thought that the one who truly destroys the Zhao family is not the male lead Long Tian, but Zhao Feng's newly married wife, Lu Jianan. What? The Zhao family is destroyed. And the one who did it is the current mistress of the Zhao family. Hearing the inner voice, Feng Qianqin and Yu both felt incredible. For a time, they were even more curious and wanted to know what kind of secrets might be hidden in it. Indeed. Looking at Yi Lu-yun, who was lost in thought, Lu Jianan's eyes showed understanding. He really knows everything, but the Zhao family is ruined and their home destroyed, so does that mean my plan was ultimately successful? Thinking of this, a heart-stirring emotion appeared in Lu Jianan's eyes. Fortunately, Lu Jianan's ability to maintain composure was quite good. Those were things for the future. Right now, her plan hadn't even officially begun. The more it is like this, the more she needs to remain steady. Lu-yun. The sudden call made Yi Lu-yun, who was pondering, raise his head in confusion. You don't mind that I called you by your name, do you? Chapter 14 Nine-tailed Heavenly Enchantress Physique, simply outrageous. You've already said it, what's the point of asking if I mind? He was somewhat speechless. However, in this world of cultivation, for many cultivation families, the lives of servants simply don't count as lives. Even if they are casually beaten or killed, no one would say anything. Being able to directly call his name already indicates that her status is very high. Madam can call me whatever you like. It would be even better if you could call me husband. He. It wasn't that Ji Luyun was a loser, it was truly that Lu Jianan's alluring yet not seductive temperament was genuinely pleasing. This fellow, how bold. Not only was Lu Jianan not angry, but she found him rather interesting. That woman, why her? What does this mean? Does Yi Luyun like that Lu Jianan? Why is that? Yu, who was in her room, was now filled with displeasure. It was clear that when they first met, he found her troublesome, but when he met Lu Jianan for the first time, he directly asked her to call him husband. Is the difference really that big? Compared to Yu, Feng Qianqin also frowned slightly after hearing these thoughts. For some reason, she felt a little uncomfortable. However, she didn't say anything and continued to cultivate her spiritual energy while listening. Lu Yun, you helped Xiao Kai. As the matriarch of the Zhao family, I should give you some reward. Thank you, madam. Another reward. As expected of a tycoon. If possible, please give me more. I won't mind at all. As the saying goes, no one ever thinks they have enough money. Yi Liuyun's answer made Lu Jianan smile, and then she pretended to search in her sleeves. But she quickly stopped, looking regretful. I got up too early this morning. The things I prepared were left in the room. I forgot to bring them. This kind of thing could easily be done by asking a servant or maid to fetch it. Yi Luyun didn't say anything. But at this time, Lu Jianan suddenly said deliberately, how about this, Lu Yun? You come with me to the room to get it. Go to the room. Is there something wrong? Tilting her head, Lu Jianan had an innocent expression on her face. No, nothing. He shook his head decisively. Every frown and smile was captivating. No, he can't look any longer. Then come with me. As if she had anticipated this situation, Lu Jianan smiled and took the lead. Huff. Yi Luyun adjusted his breathing before following. Something's not right. Why am I feeling inexplicably restless? Am I that much of a loser? Could it be that it's been too long since I've been with a woman? Forget it, I'll just follow her for now. The servants they encountered along the way all addressed Lu Jianan with respect. The family head is currently in seclusion. It can be said that during this period, Lu Jianan holds the highest position within the residence. Lu Jianan, walking in front, was constantly pondering in her heart. Her decision to have Yi Luyun follow her was, of course, intentional. It was done in order to learn more. If their world is truly just a novel, then Yi Luyun should know everything, right? Then perhaps, Yi Luyun should also be able to accurately name the enemies who killed her parents, right? Asking directly is definitely not an option. That would not only fail to get the answer she wanted, but would instead arouse Yi Luyun's suspicion. Just as Lu Jianan was pondering how to subtly inquire and obtain the answer she wanted from Yi Luyun, Yi Luyun's inner voice came again from behind. She's really so beautiful. Looking at Lu Jianan, who was step by step in front of him, Yi Luyun was somewhat captivated for a moment. What to do? I really want to simp. What is he saying? If it was just praising her beauty, Lu Jianan wouldn't think much of it. After all, she had heard such praises many times. But the following inner voice made Lu Jianan's heartbeat quicken a lot. Her footsteps stopped accordingly. What's going on? Am I such a loser? While Yi Luyun was still wondering if he was really a loser. Not paying attention and walking forward with his head down, he accidentally bumped into Lu Jianan in front of him. You have to know, because of the 9 revolutions mystic technique, Yi Luyun is a serious body refiner. If nothing else, his physical defense is extremely high. Yi Luyun didn't feel anything from the collision. On the contrary, Lu Jianan staggered and suddenly fell forward. Careful! Yi Luyun, who had reacted, saw this scene and immediately put his arms around Lu Jianan without saying a word. Madam, are you alright? Why did she suddenly stop? Strange. I'm fine. Lu Jianan was also taken aback. She waved her hand, indicating that she was fine. But at this moment, Lu Jianan noticed that in the action of embracing just now, Yi Luyun's hand took the opportunity to grab Lu Jianan's small hand. It seemed like nothing at first, but just this alone made Lu Jianan's pupils shrink, and her eyes immediately became a little uneasy. She was about to shake it off, but it was obviously too late. So hot. For no reason, Yi Luyun felt a burst of heat in his heart. Fuck, am I really so desperate for a woman that I'm going crazy? Something's not right, my condition is very wrong. Lu Yun, are you okay? Lu Jianan's voice couldn't help but have some tremor. Some past memories made Lu Jianan's whole state become bad. I'm fine. I'm in a lot of trouble right now. Fuck. Damn it, did you drug me? 9 revolutions mysterious skill, move for me. My state, no matter how you look at it, feels like I've been drugged. As the top cultivation immortal method in the primordial world, the 9 revolutions mysterious skill doesn't just have the effect of body refining. Violent power surged in Yi Luyun's body. Soon, Yi Luyun's state recovered and his eyes returned to clarity. What exactly happened to me just now? Yi Lu-yun, who had returned to normal, thought of his situation just now and felt that 9/10 of it was wrong. Huff. Seeing Yi Lu-yun return to normal, Lu Jianan was obviously much relieved. She quickly let go of her hand that was holding Yi Lu-yun's hand. Ha! Seeing this scene, a particular plot point came to Yi Lu-yun's mind. Damn, I remember now, this Lu Jianan has the innate nine-tailed heavenly allure physique. Anyone who comes into contact with her, whether man or woman, can't help but be moved by her. Even just being near her will cause strange feelings to arise. No wonder, I thought it was just because I'd been single for too long. Come to think of it, no matter how much of a loser I am, it shouldn't be like this. In the original plot, the reason Zhao Feng had people assassinate Lu Jianan's family and then properly marry her was because of this nine-tailed heavily allure physique. Fortunately, I have the 9 revolutions mystic skill, or even I would have fallen for it. Chapter 15, Twist upon Twist. Nine-tailed heavenly allure physique. Upon learning that the Zhao family head's newly wedded wife actually possessed such a special physique, both Feng Qianqin and Yu Yu felt surprised. It is known that there is a small portion of people in this world who possess special constitutions, and such people are also known as the favored children of heaven, very few in number. Once these special constitutions are paired with matching cultivation methods, after starting cultivation, the speed of their strength improvement even far exceeds that of some geniuses of the same age. Originally, seeing that Yi Lu-yun had recovered, Lu Jianan felt much relieved. But the following inner thoughts stunned Lu Jianan. The one who killed her parents was Zhao Kai's father. Even if she had already had such a guess before, now that it was confirmed, the hatred in Lu Jianan's heart became even stronger. Madam, what was that just now? Even though he understood in his heart, on the surface, Yi Lu-yun still pretended to be confused and asked. He's really acting, this innocent state. If I couldn't hear your inner thoughts, I really wouldn't be able to tell anything. This acting skill is even better than mine. Sorry, I didn't tell you. It's a problem with my constitution. I hope you don't misunderstand. And don't overthink it. You worry too much, madam. It's good as long as you're alright. Is she worried about being seen as someone very easy? Of course, I wouldn't think that. From childhood, because of her nine-tailed heavenly enchantress physique, Lu Jianan has been seen by many as a very easy woman, even one for all men. But in reality, once the nine-tailed heavenly enchantress physique is deflowered, that enchanting ability is lost. Your charm is so strong now, so of course you're still a virgin. You can only say, sometimes you can't judge a book by its cover. This Lu Jianan is a virgin in the truest sense. A virgin. For an unmarried young woman, this is naturally nothing. But Feng Qianqin and Yu Yu were a little puzzled. But hasn't Lu Jianan already married? Could it be that the Zhao family's patriarch is impotent? I remember, the nine-tailed heavenly enchantress physique, in addition to this special ability, is also a top-notch cauldron for some cultivators. The so-called cauldron is actually a method used by some cultivators who seek shortcuts, extracting yin to supplement yang to quickly improve their strength. And a top-grade cauldron is worth hundreds of ordinary ones. According to the description in the book, the Zhao family patriarch accidentally passed by the village where Lu Jianan was located and discovered Lu Jianan's special physique. In order to ensure the safety of the cauldron, he secretly ordered the killing of Lu Jianan's entire family and then came forward to marry Lu Jianan, rightfully keeping her by his side. The reason why he hasn't used her yet is simply because Zhao Feng's strength has not reached its peak. Once he leaves seclusion this time and his strength reaches its peak, he can use Lu Jianan's cauldron to cultivate together, and his cultivation can break through several realms in a row. One can only say, this is the reality of the cultivation world. In order to improve their strength, things like plotting for wealth and killing are just child's play. On the contrary, they can only be regarded as child's play. However, I guess Zhao Feng never imagined that Lu Jianan isn't some naive simpleton. This clever woman has long begun to suspect Zhao Feng, just without any evidence. If Lu Jianan were truly a naive simpleton, possessing such a physique, she would have been easily coaxed into losing her virginity long ago. How could she have remained intact until now? It's probably a special arrangement by the author. Zhao Feng, in order to feel secure, didn't provide Lu Jianan with any cultivation resources. But in an accident, Lu Jianan obtained a celestial technique very suitable for the nine-tailed heavenly enchantress physique. Her strength greatly advanced, and at the last moment, she turned the tables and killed Zhao Feng. It can only be said that who told Zhao Feng not to be the protagonist? Of course, he couldn't succeed. So, my plan, in the end, succeeded, right? Listening to Yi Lu-yun's inner thoughts, a smile couldn't help but appear on Lu Jianan's face. As long as she can avenge her parents, nothing else matters. However, a twist is coming. It's not over yet, since this is a novel world. Then everything cannot avoid the male lead, Long Tian. Although Zhao Feng was successfully killed, Lu Jianan was also severely injured at the time, and the male protagonist, Long Tian, happened to pass by. After seeing the unconscious Lu Jianan, he directly took action. Then, Lu Jianan became one of the male protagonist's many women. So, my final ending is like this. Lu Jianan was stunned. Equally stunned were Feng Qianqin and Yu Yu. Originally, because of Lu Jianan's past, the two women felt pity for Lu Jianan, but such a reversal was really unexpected. That bastard. Not towards Yi Lu Yun, but towards the male protagonist, Long Tian. That disgusting guy. When we meet again, I will definitely make him look good. Actually taking advantage of the situation, taking action while others are unconscious. Such a thing is unacceptable to Feng Qianqin and Yu Yu, who are also women, and instead, they find that Long Tian is very disgusting. Ah, choo! At the same time, within Fire Forest City, Long Tian, walking on the street, couldn't help but sneeze. Is someone thinking about me? Forget it. Unable to figure it out, Long Tian did not continue to dwell on it. The events at the congratulatory banquet were still lingering in Long Tian's mind. He had actually been ridiculed like that. Just you wait. I, Long Tian, will definitely make you regret it. You've already lost the position of being my primary wife and can only be a concubine. In Long Tian's view, this was his greatest punishment for Feng Qianqin. When the time comes, Feng Qianqin will definitely regret treating him with such an attitude back then. Ha ha ha. Thinking of this, Long Tian laughed triumphantly. But this was on the street. The sudden laughter caused everyone else on the surrounding streets to look over with expressions as if they were looking at a lunatic. Is this guy crazy? They couldn't help but move to the side to avoid him. The quiet discussions coming from the crowd brought Long Tian back to his senses. After glancing around, he let out a snort. Humph. With a crooked, sinister smile, how could a mere group of ordinary people understand his ambitions? With arrogant steps, he strode away. As expected of the male lead, he's eye-catching no matter where he is. Lanling auction. Just then, Long Tian suddenly noticed a notice not far away. It was a promotional notice for the Lanling auction, which would be held in a few days. Such auctions are held almost every month, and there are many chambers of commerce that organize them. In Firewood City, the Lanling auction is considered to be on the smaller side. But for some reason, the moment he saw this notice, Long Tian inexplicably felt that there would be something he needed in this auction. 2 days from now. After remembering the time, Long Tian left directly, preparing to wait for the auction to start 2 days later. If I want it, I will definitely get it. This inexplicable feeling also made Long Tian more confident. Chapter 16. I'm not even afraid of the male lead. Why would I be afraid of the villain? TSK, with me here, how could I ever let such disgusting plots happen? Just as Lu Jianan was stunned by her future destiny, Yi Liuyun's inner voice came out again. I really don't know what the author of this book was thinking to write such a plot. Has he never seen a woman in 8 lifetimes? Probably one of those fat otaku who stay at home all day, fantasizing over pictures online. Anyway, I'm just signing in to the plot. It's not like I have to keep the plot going. Yi Liuyun's system only requires him to check in and watch the show when the plot happens. This doesn't mean that Yi Liuyun needs to maintain the normal course of the plot. How could such a beautiful woman be wasted on that guy? Hearing this, not only Lu Jianan in front of them, but even Feng Qianqin and Yu Yu nodded in agreement. Even without Yi Liuyun, knowing the future direction, they would also lend a helping hand. Might as well let me have her. Although with the power of the 9 revolutions mysterious skill, Yi Liuyun successfully recovered from the bewitching power of the 9-tailed heavenly enchantress physique. But she is such a beauty that could topple kingdoms and cities. Moreover, I'm just thinking about it in my heart, there shouldn't be any problem with that. Humph. This guy. Yu Yu waved her small fist in displeasure, getting angrier the more she thought about it. What's so great about him? He's just a little older and more mature than me, right? What's so good about that? I'll grow up too. Feng Qianqin didn't speak, remaining silent and seemingly lost in thought. As for Lu Jianan, the person involved, after hearing Yi Liuyun's inner thoughts, not only did she not feel anything was wrong, but she also felt that a person who could face their inner thoughts was instead very open and honorable. It can only be said that when you have a good impression of someone, everything they do is right. Madam. At this moment, Yi Liuyun had recovered from his thoughts and looked at Lu Jianan, who was standing in front of him without moving. Yi Liuyun called out in confusion. Coming back to her senses, Lu Jianan was first stunned, then smiled, and said, Sorry, it's been a long time since I've been this close to someone, so I was a little absent-minded. Since learning about her special physique, Lu Jianan rarely approached even her own parents, let alone other people. Zhao Kai's father, although he married Lu Jianan, did so to ensure the maximum effect of the cauldron physique. Before his cultivation reached its peak, he had not touched Lu Jianan. Follow me. After saying this with a smile, she continued walking ahead, leading the way. Is it just my imagination? I always feel that Lu Jianan's smile has become more amiable. That gentle gaze, anyone who didn't know better would think she was looking at a close confidant. Is my relationship with Lu Jianan really that good? Taking it as an illusion, Yi Liuyun scratched his head and followed Lu Jianan's pace. I don't have many good things here, only some high-grade immortal stones. Zhao Feng, in order to ensure that Lu Jianan would not have any accidents before becoming his cauldron, he had not given Lu Jianan any cultivation methods, or elixirs, and spiritual treasures. It is only now that Zhao Feng is in closed-door cultivation that Lu Jianan can simply squander some immortal stones, otherwise she wouldn't even be able to touch them. Nominally, she was the Zhao family's main wife, but in reality, the power to control the Zhao family would always be in Zhao Feng's hands. TSK. This Zhao Feng is old, but his heart isn't. He's over 100 years old, but he's still eyeing other people's young girls. Shameless. She said it was a few, but the bag Yi Luyan held in his hand was quite heavy. Thank you, madam. This is already very good. It's good that you like it. Seeing that Yi Luyan liked it, Lu Jianan smiled brightly. There aren't many people in this residence that I can talk to. If you have time, would you keep me company and talk to me more often? Are you really not afraid? He, a mere servant, was honestly getting close to the madam of the house. It would be easy for something to happen. What if he was seen and it reached Zhao Feng's ears? Hiss. That's right, this guy really isn't afraid. After all, Lu Jianan at this time should already suspect that Zhao Feng is the enemy who killed her parents, but she just doesn't have any evidence. Despite the number of people in the residence, those of lower status didn't dare to say much to Lu Jianan, and those of higher status were probably instructed by Zhao Feng. In this large residence, Lu Jianan really didn't have many friends. Seemingly infinitely glorious, but actually very lonely. Sure enough, he understood her well. However, what if Zhao Feng gets the news and comes out of seclusion early? Wouldn't the plot become even more outrageous? Hearing Yi Luoyun's thoughts, the smile on Lu Jianan's face gradually faded. Indeed, that is, after all, Zhao Feng, a being on the verge of breaking through to the God King realm. It's only natural that Yi Luoyun would feel apprehensive and find him troublesome. He understood inwardly, but a hint of bitterness still flickered in his eyes. If you are unwilling, then forget it. If madam doesn't mind, I am naturally willing. Before Lu Jianan could finish speaking, Yi Luoyun interrupted her. At the same time, TCH, when Zhao Feng was in seclusion, many of the affairs, big and small, of the manor were arranged by this steward on his behalf. The steward's intention in seeking out Yi Luoyun was simple, to have Yi Luoyun stay away from Lu Jianan. And Yi Luoyun's reply was also quite concise and clear. None of your damn business. Chapter 17, Just Wrangling, who can't do that? I knew it. Before Zhao Feng went into seclusion, he must have arranged some informants to ensure that no other man had the opportunity to get close to Lu Jianan. I didn't expect the informant to be the steward. Even if nothing better than the 9 revolutions mysterious still appeared, with so many accumulated rewards, Yi Luoyun would not fear a Zhao Feng. This guy. Meanwhile, hearing Yi Luoyun's inner thoughts, Lu Jianan couldn't help but smile. She knew this clever fellow would never allow himself to suffer a loss. Recalling the risque jokes Yi Luoyun had told her during the day, Lu Jianan's face flushed crimson for no reason, getting bolder and bolder. She felt that Yi Luoyun seemed to be growing increasingly audacious when facing her. But the most crucial thing was that Lu Jianan didn't feel the slightest bit of annoyance toward. Your authority as a steward is significant, but surely it doesn't surpass that of the madam of the house. Anyone who didn't know better would think you were the master of the Zhao family. You're talking nonsense. When did I ever say such a thing? The steward was flustered. If such words were to spread, even if the master trusted him greatly, he would be executed to save the family's reputation. Otherwise, others would think that the master of their Zhao family couldn't even control his own servants. No matter how high the steward's position, he is still a servant. Nonsense. Which of my words? Lu Jianan's tone was calm. She questioned the steward in return. These words cannot be said carelessly. What if someone spread the rumor that a steward said the head of the family's wife was very casual? This is freaking insane. I wouldn't even have enough heads to lose. Then it seems I have misunderstood. Lu Jianan ignored him, glanced around, and simply said, if I remember correctly, it should be the Lanling auction. The male protagonist, Long Tian, will obtain a good treasure from this auction. It can be considered as an early cheat the author opened for the male protagonist, Long Tian. How can he become stronger without treasures? Lanling auction. At the same time, the female leads all began to take action. Fire Forest City, the Lanling Chamber of Commerce was neither large nor small, but rather of. Instead, he pondered helplessly. According to the timeline, the Lanling auction should be tomorrow. But this plot only involves Long Tian, just him acting cool. The foolish young master isn't even present. What reason can I use to sneak in? Originally, Lu Jianan was planning to have someone fetch the invitation to the Lanling auction after leaving. But after suddenly hearing Yi Luoyun's thoughts, she inexplicably smiled. She said. Saying that, Lu Jianan quickly left. The pace of her departure looked obviously a little unsteady. Weird. Tilting his head, Yi Luoyun was a bit puzzled, but he didn't say anything. His mind was filled with thoughts about tomorrow's plot. The second sign and opportunity is finally coming. Madam, the master has instructed that you'd best not, but there was nothing else. If she wants to go to the auction, then so be it. What's the big deal? Thank you, young master. Foolish young master is so easy to use. Chapter 19, who says only the female lead is beautiful. Wait a moment. As expected, the bad premonition was confirmed. Hearing Zhao Kai say this, the butler on the side quickly raised his hand to stop him. Miss Feng will inevitably inherit the position of the Feng family's head in the future. Their positions are equal. I think Miss Feng has not agreed to the young master. Could it be that Feng Qianqin prefers someone who was more decisive in their actions? Zhao Kai was stunned at first, his gaze gradually brightening from its initial bewilderment. That makes sense. That's quite possible. Seeing Zhao Kai, Yi Lu Yun. Okay, I asked a stupid question. He suddenly realized that when Zhao Feng was not in seclusion, he kept an even stricter watch, so how could he let Lu Jianan come out casually? Compared to other female leads, Lu Jianan's fate can be considered relatively bumpy. Haunted by the nine-tailed enchantress physique since childhood, she had few friends. Growing up, she lost her entire family because of it, and now this. TSK. That damn author really knows how to write tragedy. Don't let me get a chance to go back, or I'll give you a couple of slaps across. Forget it, it's all the same meaning anyway. Although the female lead is beautiful, it's not like there aren't other beautiful women in this world. Lu Jianan, who was beside him, noticed Yi Liuyun's gaze, and her mood immediately became a little bad. Madam, this is your private room. Lu Jianan's status is here. As the Zhao family's madam, even if it's her first time, she has been arranged in a private room on the second floor. A rank 5 pill is already considered very good. If this news were to spread, I'm afraid all the major cultivation families in Fire Forest City would fight over this pill. The main effect of the bone-breaking tendon-forging pill is to reshape bones and strengthen tendons. In the early stages, the male lead Long Tian relied on this pill to lay a solid foundation. It can be said that without this pill, the male lead Long Tian would definitely not have been able to grow so quickly. Sister Qianqin, haven't you left for the Highland Sect yet? Even though they had grown up together, she still harbored some inner thoughts. She had finally found such a special man she couldn't let him be snatched away. If it were someone else, it would be one thing. But Feng Qianqin was so outstanding, always the exemplary child since childhood. If she had to with Feng Qianqin, you felt. Yi Luyun, who was standing by, was completely stunned by the sight. Wait, are you guys really that close? It seems like even until the end of the plot, your relationship wasn't that great. Could it be some kind of butterfly effect? Plot is collapsing in it truly. He had no idea. At this moment, Feng Qianqin had already sat down on the other side of Yi Luyun. Noticing Yi Liuyun's surprise, Feng Qianqin looked over with a natural expression. Is something the matter? Nothing. Too close. This seat was basically right next to Yi Liuyun's seat. I don't even know what they have yet. Hopefully, there is something I like. Me too. Yu nodded in agreement, expressing her thoughts. Obviously, the three women's thoughts were all about the bone-breaking tendon-hammering pill that Yi Luyun had mentioned. I see. Nodding. Lu. In such circumstances, for most cultivators, a spirit artifact is already considered a very good treasure. What is this spirit du pot? The spirit artifact's name is Spirit du pot. Yi Luyun curiously looked over. Although he knew the plot, it didn't mean that Yi Luyun understood every spiritual artifact in this world clearly. This was a real world, and the descriptions in the novel were ultimately brief, and not. Long Tian raised his head arrogantly, his gaze looking down upon the person before him. That kind of person with soaring arrogance, not to mention the Lanling Merchant Guild's people, even many who had already sat down, preparing for the auction, couldn't help but look over. In their hearts, they inexplicably felt that this young man was probably no ordinary person. Clang. Just then, a sound rang out. The auction officially began. Yi Luyun had also gathered his thoughts at this moment. Whatever, my purpose is just to watch a show and experience a plot. I just don't know, what will I get this time when I sign in? For a time, Yi Luyun began to look forward to what kind of reward he would receive this time. Before, it was directly the 9 Revolutions mysterious technique, so this time, it certainly won't be too. Unsurprisingly, this led to the disappointment of many. What blood jade divine ape? Isn't it just a jade monkey? What's the use of this thing? I knew I shouldn't have come. Many even began to regret coming to this auction, feeling there was nothing worthwhile. In their view, anything that didn't help with strength was just trash, right? Blood jade divine ape sounds nice, but at the end of the day, isn't it just an ornament? Ha! Listening to these impatient remarks, Lu Jun, among the crowd, let out a soft. A cheat is a cheat. Strictly speaking, I have a system, so I'm also considered to be cheating. Let's see who has the better cheat in the end. At this time, the auction house began to give a starting price. This blood jade divine ape is priced at 1 low-grade immortal stone. If anyone likes it, buying it to use as an ornament isn't a bad idea. What answered him was silence. Most of the people who come here certainly don't lack a single low-grade immortal stone. Are there any other? Out of habit, he prepared to ask if there were any other bids. If no one bid, the item would belong to Long Tian. But before he could finish speaking, 20. Chapter 23 Female Protagonist Immortals Fight. Male protagonist gets beaten into oblivion. In Long Tian's view, there would definitely be no surprises with his bid. Who is it? At this moment, Long Tian stood up from his seat. Someone actually dares to compete with me. Although the people in the private rooms can see everything downstairs, the people downstairs can't see the people in the private rooms. Long Tian just felt inexplicably that the other party's voice sounded somewhat familiar, as if he had heard it somewhere before. Is this Long Tian's future? He was indeed a disgusting person. But after all, he was the male protagonist capable of becoming a god emperor, so the female protagonists weren't surprised. However, knowing that Long Tian was vindictive and petty, the female protagonists felt even more disgusted with the male protagonist, Long Tian. I bid. Originally, if my little sister liked it, I would naturally concede. However, I rarely leave my residence, so I still hope to acquire it. I bid 10 high-grade immortal stones. In any case, high-grade immortal stones were just a number to them. For a moment, the gazes of Lu Jianan and Feng Qianqin met, as if a current flashed between them. This. What is? For a moment, many of the surrounding people were speculating about Long Tian's identity. If he were just someone ordinary, he wouldn't be speaking to the Feng family's young mistress in such a tone, right? TSK. He really knows how to add drama for himself. As if he's the center of the world and everything others do must be because of him. TSK. I forgot that this Yu's character design includes the little chili pepper trait. Although not frequent, in the original story there were a few instances where she retorted to the point of leaving others speechless. Impressive. Such Yu genuinely amused Yi Luyun. Feng Qianqin, standing beside them, was also filled with surprise. After today's events, Long Tian's reputation in Fire Forest City will probably really stink. You're courting death. Long Tian had recovered from his daze. He didn't know why he had acted that way just now, but he just felt that she should be his woman. At the same time, feeling annoyed, he also saw Lu Jianan's movement of hiding behind Yi Luyun. For a moment, Long Tian looked at Yi Luyun as if he were looking at someone who had stolen his wife. Smack! A loud slap echoed throughout the auction house. Long Tian's figure was sent flying directly. The speed was too fast, many people didn't even react. Right now, they could only stare blankly at Yi Luyun, who had landed. He was just about to say a few harsh words, but when he saw that Long Tian, who he had sent flying, showed no signs of standing up for a good while. Yi Luyun, at times like these, the role of the foolish young master immediately becomes apparent. The young master asked me to bring you a message. In the future, when you see Miss Feng, stay far away. If I see you even thinking about getting close to Miss Feng, I will break your legs. The words bullying others with one's power seem to be written directly on Yi Luyun's face. Anyway, it has nothing to do with me, these are all the young master's orders. If you want to cause trouble, go find the... That's what they thought, but the three women could all see a hint of a smile in each other's eyes. You're so bad, I love it. Choo. At the same time, Zhao Kai was wandering aimlessly down the street, wondering if he might get lucky and run into Feng Qianqin. But after walking around for so long, he hadn't even caught a glimpse of Feng Qianqin. Feeling a bit of coolness in his nose, Zhao Kai couldn't help but sneeze. The next second, he felt a chill on the back of his neck and couldn't help but shrink his neck. What's going on? Thinking of this, Yi Luyun's eyes immediately became expectant. I'll keep it for now and wait until I get back. Worried that checking in here would cause some commotion, Yi Luyun prepared to wait until he got back before using this check-in opportunity. On the other hand, Feng Qianqin, you guys go back first. I want to take another look. Having thought of something, Feng Qianqin was not in a hurry to leave and decided to stay a little longer. Alright. Since Feng Qianqin said so, everyone didn't stop her. After saying goodbye, they left. Yi Luyun's original plan was to return to his residence and use the sign-in opportunity he had just obtained. But he was suddenly stopped by Lu Jianan. Madam, is there something you need? He looked at Lu Jianan in front of him with some confusion, wondering why she had suddenly. Lu Jianan definitely wanted to give this pill to Yi Luyun. After all, that was their initial thought when they wanted to bid for it. This pill won't do much for me, so just accept it. Fearing that Yi Luyun would refuse, Lu Jianan immediately added, TSK, does she think I'm stupid? Others may not know, but Yi Luyun, who knows the plot, is very clear about it. The greatest effect of bone fracture tendon tempering pills is to improve physical fitness. It has a huge effect even on those who have never cultivated. How could it be useless? Lu Jianan carries a blood feud, so this kind of pill is definitely young. I didn't know the goodness of older sisters, mistakenly taking young girls as treasure. What's wrong with young girls? Such a sentiment made Yu, who had already returned home, somewhat dissatisfied. Among the three female leads, she seemed to be the smallest and youngest. Wasn't he talking about her? Thinking of this, Yu couldn't help but feel, The female protagonists were also curious at this moment. Clearly, they had realized that this so-called grand celestial art of the Supreme should be like the previous 9 revolutions mysterious technique, not an immortal art from their world. Just wondering, compared to the 9 revolutions mysterious technique that could achieve sanctification of the flesh, what kind of existence would this grand celestial art of the Supreme be? Chapter 27, Second Revolution of the Mysterious Technique, Obtaining Origin, Building A. There's no need to waste any more words. Top-tier immortal techniques have been delivered right to my doorstep. What's there to hesitate about? One word: practice. I, Yi Luyun, have never relied on anyone to get where I am today. It's all thanks to my own efforts. System, add points for me. Hearing Yi Luyun's funny inner thoughts, the heroines couldn't help but smile. Who else but Yi Luyun would be able to joke around at a time like this? Not only did they not mind, but they also found this side of Yi Luyun to be quite interesting. Completely different from those rigid and serious cultivators. Add 50 years to the Great Firmament Golden Immortal Art and the remaining 100 years to the 9 Revolutions Mysterious Technique. Yi Luyun thought for a moment and simply allocated the 150 years of cultivation experience. The Great Firmament Golden Immortal Art is good, but the 9 Revolutions Mysterious Technique is, after all, a technique that leads directly to the Great Path. That alone makes it superior to the Great Firmament Golden Immortal Art. Anyway, it's all from cheats. It's not like I won't be able to sign in later. If I get cultivation experience from signing in later, I'll just add more to the Great Supreme Celestial Art. System, add the 100 years of cultivation experience to the 9 Revolutions Mysterious Technique first. The system didn't answer. But with Yi Luyun's command, a burst of violent power suddenly erupted from Yi Luyun's body. Huff! The sudden surge of power almost overwhelmed Yi Luyun. He quickly adjusted his breathing to calm himself down. Luckily, I reacted in time. This body refining immortal technique is indeed different. If it were just an immortal technique that cultivates spiritual energy, it probably wouldn't have caused such a commotion. He didn't pay much attention to it, but instead, he diligently circulated the 9 Revolutions Mysterious Technique to digest the 100 years of cultivation experience. Right, there's also the 5th grade bone-breaking tendon forging pill. Yi Luyun suddenly remembered the pill placed on the table. Without hesitation, he immediately took it out and swallowed it in one gulp. Gada! Gada! The dual effect of the 9 Revolutions Mystic Technique and the bone-forging tendon hammering pill caused Yi Luyun's bones throughout his body to emit a series of sounds. His outer skin turned red, and his veins bulged. This feeling of breaking through realms is simply more enjoyable than anything else. He got up and moved his muscles and bones, feeling incredibly light all over. On the other side, seeing that Yi Luyun was unharmed, the heroines were relieved. Fortunately, there was the tendon mending bone rejuvenating pill given by Lu Jianan. It can understand the nature of laws, obtain the origin, and build a divine body. Although it cannot directly cultivate into a saint like the 9 Revolutions Mysterious Technique, it is also a method of immortal cultivation that directly reaches the origin. That's right, Feng Qianqin gave me a 6th grade medicinal pill before, I can use it now. Before, I didn't cultivate immortal techniques that use spiritual energy, so I never used it. But now I can use it. As the realm improves, the more time is needed later on. I estimate that after a few more realms, if I want to continue improving, I'm afraid it will have to be calculated in Hui Yuan. According to the calculations of the primordial world, 1 Hui Yuan is equal to 129,600 years. TSK. If I really have to go into seclusion, wouldn't I be stuck in there until I die? Doesn't need to be much, just casually give me the 36 heavenly divine powers, or if that's not possible, the 72 earthly demonic powers will do. Yi Luyun thought greedily. Although the female leads didn't know what the 36 heavenly and 72 earthly powers meant, they figured it definitely wasn't some simple ability. It's about time. Sleep. Sleep. For most cultivators, there is simply no concept of sleep. If he felt tired, he could completely use cross-legged meditation to replace sleep. It would not only conserve energy but also enhance his spiritual energy. How wonderful! But Yi Luyun had no need for that at all. Seclusion. That was absolutely impossible. I've already got a cheat. If I still cultivate like those other cultivators, wouldn't that be a waste of my cheat? Do elixirs have no effect? Seeing Yi Luyun preparing to rest, the female leads gradually withdrew their thoughts. Feng Qianqin didn't expect that the 6th grade elixir she had given earlier would have no effect on Yi Luyun. Slightly lowering her eyebrows, a jade-like gourd appeared in Feng Qianqin's hand. Hopefully, this item will be useful to you. The next day was unexpectedly leisurely. Perhaps because he had the power to protect himself, Yi Luyun's mindset was obviously not as cautious as before. While strolling with Lu Jianan in the courtyard by the lake, Yi Luyun leisurely folded his hands behind his back. At the same time, he also began to ponder the upcoming plot. The following plot should no longer be in this fire forest city. After all, Long Tian is the male lead. Next, the female lead Feng Qianqin will enter the Highland sect, and Long Tian, as the protagonist, will naturally join as well. At the same time, Long Tian will be favored by the Highland sect's leader, who is also Feng Qianqin's master, in the competition for newly entered disciples. Speaking of which, this Highland sect leader is also a female lead. What's her name again? Right, Shui Yuashan. At the same time, Highland sect. As the top-tier cultivation sect within a radius of 1,000 miles. Not only is the spiritual energy here abundant and the environment beautiful and pleasant, but it is also a sacred place longed for by many cultivators. At this moment, in the hall of the sect leader, They even wondered if they had done something wrong. Shui Yuashan was able to firmly hold the position of Sect leader because she had earned it sword stroke by sword stroke over hundreds of years. Her formidable and fearsome reputation came from countless mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Chapter 29, Heaven and Earth Tremble in Anger. In a bad mood, Shui Yuashan realized that she hadn't controlled her emotions well. Huff. She adjusted her breathing slightly, and soon, the sharp and fierce aura all over her body slowly dissipated. After all, she was at the peak of the God King realm, only one step away from the God Emperor realm, so she still possessed this level of self-cultivation. Seeing that the inexplicable pressure had disappeared, the elders finally felt relieved. To be honest, just now when Shui Yuashan's emotions were off and her aura naturally radiated out, they really felt as if their heads could fall to the ground at any moment. This was the difference brought by strength. Sorry, my recent seclusion has made me a little impetuous. Shui Yuashan still offered an explanation. No one found it strange. After all, Shui Yuashan had been breaking through to the God Emperor realm recently. Once Shui Yuashan's strength successfully broke through, then their Highland sect, let alone in the surrounding thousands of miles, would be considered a famous sect on the entire continent. The sect leader is wholeheartedly for the sect. I hope you will pay attention to rest. That's right, the sect leader has been working hard in cultivation, it's really too exhausting. One by one, they all began to praise her. Realm breakthrough isn't something that can be achieved just by saying you want to break through. There are many cultivators who are stuck in a realm and cannot step into it in their entire lives. This is not uncommon. It can only be said that it still depends on chance. Thank you for your concern. Let's talk about what just happened. If there's nothing else important, I'll go back to my seclusion. Waving her hand, Shui Yuashan didn't want to waste any more time on such matters and spoke directly. The elders also quickly replied. It's not a big deal. It's just that the day for recruiting disciples is coming soon. The Highland sect basically opens its doors wide every few decades to recruit disciples. This is considered the liveliest day for the Highland sect. At that time, the new disciples will have a grand competition, and those who perform well will be accepted as disciples by our elders. Survival of the fittest. No matter what world, this is the most authentic law. Shui Yuashan, as the sect leader, will naturally appear at that time. However, in most cases, Shui Yuashan will not casually teach disciples unless she sees someone with extremely good talent, like Feng Qianqing before. I understand. Recalling that the voice just said that Long Tian, the so-called male protagonist, will also appear in this new disciple competition. It would be good to see him then. Thinking of this, Shui Yuashan nodded. I will handle it when the time comes. Is there anything else? Reporting to the sect master, there is nothing else. Besides that, it's basically some trivial matters within the sect. However, these matters are generally handled by the elders, and they only need to briefly report to Shui Yuashan. But now, seeing Shui Yuashan's unhappy mood, who would dare to bother her? Shui Yuashan didn't care. After responding, she directly transformed into spiritual energy and disappeared from the spot. Such a straightforward departure really left the elders looking at each other somewhat speechlessly. Could it be that the sect master is about to break through? One of the elders said with a somewhat uncertain tone. If it weren't for this, how could Shui Yuashan be in such a hurry to leave? It shouldn't be that fast, right? If Shui Yuashan breaks through to the Divine Emperor realm, the power of the Highland sect will naturally rise, but it also means that Shui Yuashan will have absolute authority over this Highland sect. Correspondingly, the elders' power will inevitably decrease somewhat. How could such a large sect not have one or two ambitious individuals? Not everyone truly wants to see Shui Yuashan break through. Some elders looked expectant, but others lowered their eyebrows slightly, wondering what they were thinking. As for Shui Yuashan, after returning to her immortal peak, she did not intend to enter secluded cultivation. Instead, she calmed down, preparing to continue listening to that voice. Presumably, the next inner voice should be related to her. Speaking of which, the author's description of this Shui Yuashan is relatively sparse, only saying that she used to be a decisive person in killing. When she first took over the Highland sect, she was despised and underestimated because of her female identity. Therefore, Shui Yuashan went on a killing spree, beheading countless demonic path disciples and even personally destroying several demonic sects with cruel methods, making all the doubts quiet down obediently. Later, when the sect stabilized, Shui Yuashan gradually put away her murderous intent. In general, this female protagonist's positioning should be similar to that of a tool person. Tool person. Shui Yuashan was stunned. Who is this talking about? Me. The male protagonist, Long Tian, will shine brightly in the new disciple competition. He will then be favored by Shui Yuashan, who will take him as a disciple, making him Feng Qianqing's junior brother. It's unclear whether it's due to the protagonist's halo or what, but Shui Yuashan just takes care of him in every possible way, sending him immortal techniques and treasures of all kinds, treating him even better than her own son. In the end, she even gives herself to him. So, is this my future? A tool for the male protagonist, Long Tian, and the kind that gives herself away as well. Shui Yuashan did not speak, but her jade hand had unknowingly clenched into a fist. A cultivator in the Divine King realm could shake the heavens and the earth with a single fit of anger. Her own mood could even affect the surrounding world. The originally clear sky was now covered with dark clouds, with lightning flashing and thunder rumbling. Boom! Boom! For a time, the atmosphere of the entire Highland sect became much more oppressive. Not to mention the elders, even the disciples in the sect couldn't help but look up at the dark clouds in the sky above the immortal peak. At this moment, the Highland sect, which should have been bustling with activity, was now completely silent. Everyone was afraid that even the slightest sound would be noticed by the sect master. In this situation, they feared that a single lightning strike would be the end of them. Huff! Shui Yuashan also knew that his current emotions were somewhat off. He constantly adjusted his breathing, and after a long while, Shui Yuashan's emotions finally gradually stabilized. The sky began to slowly clear up. The next part of the story is going to take place in my Highland sect, right? I don't believe you won't come here then. Because of what happened before, Shui Yuashan knew that the owner of this voice had some kind of cheat. This cheat, however, requires the target to be present at the scene where the plot unfolds. At that time, the target will surely appear at her own Highland sect, right? Ha ha! Shui Yuashan has already figured out how to gather information when the time comes. As for that Long Tian, if you have the guts, come on over. Now that she already knows what kind of fate awaits her, Shui Yuashan naturally won't let such a thing happen again. Become his woman. Screw that. Believe it or not, I'll just chop him with my sword directly. She almost transformed into the former maniac who slaughtered entire clans again. However, without the bone-breaking tendon hammering pill to lay the foundation for Long Tian, can the current Long Tian still stand out in the Highland sect's new disciple competition? In the original plot, the reason why Long Tian was able to shine in this competition, the most important thing was relying on the power of the bone-breaking tendon hammering pill. Now that she has eaten the bone-breaking tendon hammering pill herself, this male protagonist is obviously lacking. TSK, looking forward to it. After all, he has the protagonist's halo. He shouldn't just fail like this, right? Anyway, Yi Lu Yun is looking forward to it. This new disciple competition is also a segment of the plot, and I will definitely go to sign in and open it at that time. He was just thinking about what he could sign in for next time. Yi Lu Yun suddenly realized a problem. Wait, that's not right. Holy crap. The sudden change in tone made many of the female leads curious all at once. This plot doesn't seem to have the villain Zhao Kai. Didn't we agree to go boating on the lake together? Hurry up and catch up. Lu Jianan, as if unaware of anything, happily waved at Yi Lu Yun. Okay. Anyway, I haven't figured out how to enter the Highland sect yet. There are still many days before the plot unfolds, no rush. I should spend time with the beauty before. Feng Qianqin was not one for hesitation. After saying that, she threw something in her hand to Yi Lu Yun. Perhaps it was the first man she had ever met who was so special. Feng Qianqin had never imagined her future partner before, but if she had to choose one, perhaps the Yi Lu Yun before her would be a good choice. Very special, whether from the insights gained from his inner voice or the feelings from real interactions, all made Feng Qianqin have an inexplicable affection for Yi Lu Yun. I just thought you might need it. I'm heading to the Highland sect today. I hope this spiritual do kettle can help you. After speaking, Feng Qianqin left, truly waving her sleeves without taking away a cloud. Looking at Feng Qianqin's departing figure and then looking at the spiritual do kettle in his hand, Yi Lu Yun was bewildered. Hiss, could she have fallen in love with me? It seems, maybe, but that's not realistic, right? He clearly hadn't done anything. Could it be? Is it because I am too handsome? Even if I try to hide it, I still can't conceal my handsomeness. This damn, unplaceable charm of mine. Put. At the same moment, all the female protagonists, after hearing this inner voice, couldn't help but laugh out loud. We know you're narcissistic, but don't be so obvious. Indeed, very handsome. Feng Qianqin, who had already left, couldn't help but stop after hearing Yi Lu Yun's inner voice. Recalling Yi Lu Yun's appearance, she nodded in agreement. TSK. Looking at the full Linglu pot in his hand, Yi Lu Yun felt a little sentimental. The grace of a beauty is the hardest to bear. Although he didn't know why he was favored by the female protagonists, Yi Lu Yun certainly wouldn't panic because of such a thing. If he really had to follow the plot, Yi Lu Yun wouldn't have slapped Long Tian directly at the auction. Speaking of which, if I snatch a woman who originally belonged to the Child of Destiny, I wonder if I'll be unlucky. What is a chosen one? They are blessed by the heavenly Tao. Their vitality is like a cockroach. However, such thoughts only lingered in Yi Lu Yun's mind for a moment before quickly dissipating. TCH, what's there to be afraid of? Who isn't cheating here? So what if they are the chosen one? In the end, they are just a tool to trigger the plot and let me sign in. Such things should be allowed to happen naturally. Could it be that when the female lead is offering herself at the door, I should pretend to be indifferent? That wouldn't just be a problem with the brain, there would be something wrong with the body too. Such straightforward remarks made many girls subconsciously laugh. Men should be decisive and direct. Being indecisive would only make people uncomfortable. Now that Feng Qianqin is going to Highland Sect, the next part of the plot should be starting. TSK, how should I go? Am I going to sneak in? Giving up on signing in is definitely impossible. But if he gave up this identity, it would be a pity to lose such a good scapegoat as the foolish young master. Just as Yi Lu-yun was pondering a solution, the gate of the side courtyard, which had just been closed, was suddenly pushed open. Qianqin! Qianqin! The person who came was none other than the foolish young master, Zhao Kai. But after entering, Zhao Kai directly shouted out. Clearly, he had heard from the servants that Feng Qianqin had come, which was why he rushed over. But obviously, Feng Qianqin had already left at this time. Lu-yun! Where did Qianqin go? After calling out for a while without seeing Feng Qianqin, Zhao Kai had no choice but to ask Yi Lu-yun, who was in the courtyard. Miss Feng has already left. The foolish young master's obsession with Feng Qianqin is too deep. But that's also true. After all, in the original plot, this foolish young master was still thinking about Feng Qianqin until his death. What a pity! This relationship is destined to end without fruition. Already left. Zhao Kai clearly looked a bit unwell. He finally got news of Feng Qianqin, but when he rushed over, she was already gone. Did she say where she was going? Miss Feng said she has already gone to the Highland Sect. Shrugging his shoulders, Yi Lu-yun explained in a serious manner. There was no need to deceive about this kind of thing, he could just say it directly. Highland Sect. She had already left Fire Forest City. For a moment, Zhao Kai's mental state deteriorated even further. Of course, it's not that Zhao Kai is really stupid, mainly because of his status. Yi Lu-yun's current status is that of a Zhao family servant, while Feng Qianqin is the eldest daughter of the Feng family, who will inherit the Feng family in the future. Their status is obviously unequal. Many rules in this world of cultivation are actually the same as in ancient times, emphasizing social status being well matched. Zhao Kai never thought from the beginning that Feng Qianqin would be interested in Yi Lu-yun, so he was able to analyze these things. I didn't expect that Qianqin would come to say goodbye to me when she was going to the Highland Sect. As he spoke, he was almost crying. He only felt that his efforts over the years had not been in vain, and he had finally seen the rewards. This left Yi Lu-yun, standing to the side, unsure whether he should offer some words of comfort. Young master, Miss Feng has already entered the Highland Sect. If you wish to see her again in the future, you'll probably have to wait until Miss Feng has time to return. A place like the Highland Sect isn't somewhere anyone can just enter. Even if Zhao Kai is a young master of the Zhao family, the people of the Highland Sect still don't have to give him face. Zhao Kai didn't speak, but his gaze gradually began to turn serious. I've made my decision. With a flash of inspiration, Zhao Kai, his eyes filled with determination, suddenly shouted profoundly. Damn it! Just talk if you want to talk. What's with the shouting? Scared the hell out of me. Seeing Zhao Kai suddenly act like this, Yi Lu-yun couldn't help but roll his eyes. Before he could say anything, Zhao Kai continued. I've decided to join the Highland Sect. I want to become a disciple of the Highland Sect too. This time, Yi Lu-yun was truly dumbfounded. Wait, I haven't even started coaxing him yet, and he already wants to go himself. According to Yi Lu-yun's original plan, he would just trick this foolish young master into joining the Highland Sect, and then he would follow along. Then, he could smoothly sign in for the plot without such a good scapegoat. But now, I haven't even started to exert myself, and you've already brainwashed yourself. Young master, have you really decided? That's right. Anyway, my dad is still in seclusion, and I believe that even if my dad knew, he would definitely support me. That was the truth. Which father wouldn't support his useless son trying to improve himself? Only TSK. He hadn't done anything, and the plan had already succeeded. It felt like something was missing. Wait, something's not right. This thought of mine is very wrong. Isn't it good to just sit back and enjoy the fruits of his labor? In the original plot, Zhao Kai never joined the Highland Sect in the end. I didn't expect that he would join because of this incident. Sure enough, all the plots have been messed up. But it doesn't matter, as long as the main plot doesn't change, it won't affect my sign-in. However, many of the following plots will probably be affected by such changes. It is definitely impossible to look at the original plot with the perspective of reading a novel again. Lu-yun, come with me then. Zhao Kai didn't think much about it. He just felt that Yi Lu-yun in front of him was his subordinate, so it would be good to have someone to take care of him. Understood. Of course, Yi Lu-yun would not refuse. Even if you didn't bring me, I would still trick you into bringing me. Don't worry, even if you are not favored by the people from the Highland Sect, it doesn't matter. I can operate it a bit and let you be a handyman. Zhao Kai had already thought of it. In case Yi Lu-yun doesn't have any cultivation qualifications and cannot be favored by the people from the Highland Sect and accepted as a disciple, at that time, he would come forward, relying on the power of the Zhao family. It would still be very simple to get a handyman position. Then thank you, young master. Yi Lu-yun didn't care about these things. Anyway, his purpose was just to sign into the plot, not really wanting to go to the Highland Sect to learn. Get ready. We'll set off together tomorrow. Zhao Kai, already somewhat impatient, said this and then left directly. It seemed he was going to prepare the things needed for the journey to Highland Sect. So anxious. I don't have much to pack. I'll just get some rest early tonight and wait to go to Highland Sect with the silly young master tomorrow. With these thoughts, Yi Lu Yun returned to his room. Is it finally coming? Within the immortal peaks of Highland Sect, Shui Yuashan narrowed her eyes slightly. It seemed that this person would also appear in the upcoming new Disciple Grand Competition. Perfect. At that time, she could personally witness what kind of wondrous person this was. Also feeling unusual emotions because of this matter was Lu Jianan. He is still leaving after all. Although she had expected it, Lu Jianan still felt a bit down after learning that Yi Lu Yun would be leaving tomorrow. After Yi Lu Yun leaves, this vast mansion would be left with just her again, Woon Tiet. Although the mansion was not small and there were many people, Yi Lu Yun was the only one who could bring her joy from the bottom of her heart. Lu Jianan wondered, if she spoke up, would Yi Lu Yun stay? He probably would. Lu Jianan believed that Yi Lu Yun was not the kind of person who would be completely inconsiderate. However, precisely because of this, I cannot be a burden to him. Yi Lu Yun was working hard to move forward, so how could she keep dragging him down? If Yi Lu Yun could become more outstanding and better because of this, wouldn't that be a good thing? Thinking of this, Lu Jianan felt much calmer. The next day, Yi Lu Yun, who had simply packed his things, was ready to go out directly. Speaking of packing, there wasn't much to pack, just a simple bundle, and nothing else. However, as soon as he opened the door of the courtyard, Yi Lu Yun saw someone he didn't expect. Madam! It was Lu Jianan. It seemed like she had been waiting outside the door for a long time. Seeing Yi Lu Yun come out, Lu Jianan, though reluctant, still said with a smile, I heard you're going to Highland Sect with Xiao Kai, so I thought I'd come and see you off. Chapter 33, A Gift from the Madam. Indeed, I am still too weak. Looking at Lu Jianan before him, Yi Lu Yun inexplicably felt that he was too weak. This heartfelt thought surprised Lu Jianan for a moment. She didn't quite understand why Yi Lu Yun would suddenly think that way. If my strength was powerful enough, if I was fearless enough, I could directly take Lu Jianan away from this place of trouble. Weak, I am really too weak. Become stronger, damn it, I absolutely must become stronger. He had already transmigrated, and he had already awakened a system that allowed him to cheat. Yet he still needed to fear this, and that it simply didn't fit his identity as a transmigrator. The 9 Revolutions mysterious skill that had already undergone 2 transformations, and the grand heavenly immortal art that had just entered the human immortal realm, were simply not enough. He had to become even stronger. First, check in. This time, when I go to the Highland Sect, I need to find a suitable immortal technique for the 9-tailed heavenly charm physique. Although in the original plot, Zhao Kai's father, Zhao Feng, would be in seclusion for a long time this time and would not appear until the late stages of the story. But who knows what changes might occur in the current plot. Teaching Lu Jianan that immortal technique earlier would bring some peace of mind. Regarding this enchantress, naturally seductive and captivating, it would be impossible for Yi Lu Yun to say he had no thoughts about her whatsoever. However, Yi Lu Yun understood a principle even more: strength is everything. For now, the most important thing is to improve my strength first. Lu Jianan didn't speak, listening to these inner thoughts of Yi Lu Yun. Lu Jianan couldn't help it and suddenly laughed. That's enough. It was enough that Yi Lu Yun could have such thoughts. What's wrong? Yi Lu Yun raised his head in confusion, looking at Yi Lu Yun, who suddenly chuckled. It's nothing, just suddenly thought about what kind of gift to give you. Gift? Is Lu Jianan going to give me a gift? Yes, close your eyes first. Why are you so late? Outside the Zhao mansion, the carriage was already prepared. Seeing Yi Lu Yun come out, Zhao Kai, who was on the carriage, couldn't help but say, preparing some things, so I was delayed. Yi Lu Yun, in a good mood, simply explained and then stepped onto the carriage. Seeing this, Zhao Kai didn't say anything more. This time, Zhao Kai naturally wouldn't only bring Yi Lu Yun as a subordinate. Besides Yi Lu Yun, there were 2 other servants in the carriage. All of them were Zhao Kai's capable subordinates and had met each other before. After seeing Yi Lu Yun, they also nodded politely. Everyone worked in the Zhao mansion, and no one was more noble than the other, so naturally, there wouldn't be any scheming. Let us set off. Seeing that everyone was present, Zhao Kai immediately said to the coachman. With a whip from the coachman, the carriage began to move. The Zhao mansion's carriage was quite impressive. Even with so many people inside, it didn't feel crowded at all. You don't need to worry. On the carriage, perhaps it was the first time leaving Fire Forest City, so they were a little nervous. Zhao Kai was always a bit restless, but he didn't know what to do, so he just kept talking. Even if your aptitude isn't great and you're not chosen by the Highland Sect, I can still arrange for you to be laborers. You'll just need to work for me then. Yes, young master. Zhao Kai's words caused the other 2 servants to exchange glances before earnestly agreeing. Back when Zhao Kai approached them, asking them to accompany him to the Highland Sect, these 2 servants were visibly stunned for a moment, then agreed without a second thought. That was the Highland Sect. If they had a bit of talent for cultivation, perhaps they could use this opportunity to defy fate. If they could, who would want to be a lowly servant their whole life? Yi Luyun, on the other hand, asked curiously, what if we successfully become disciples of the Highland sect? Successfully become disciples of the Highland sect. The other two servants looked over as well. Zhao Kai hadn't really thought about such a question, but it didn't seem like a big deal. He waved his hand dismissively. The eldest miss of the Yu family. Not only were they both cultivation families in Fire Forest City, but she was also Feng Qianqin's good friend. Zhao Kai naturally recognized Yu. He just didn't understand why she would be here. Helpless, Zhao Kai could only step out of the carriage. Yi Luyun, who was following behind, also looked puzzled. Why is Yu here? Logically speaking, Yu shouldn't have any more scenes for a long time, right? The following plot was basically all related to the Highland sect. Could they also be going to the Highland sect? No, that's impossible. That doting head of the Yu family would never bear to let his daughter join the Highland sect. No part for me. Yu, who was blocking the carriage, couldn't help but clench her small fist. What happened to being the second female lead? Isn't the second female lead a little too insignificant? Miss Yu. Zhao Kai, who was walking behind the carriage, looked at Yu, who was blocking the way ahead with an angry expression. He was genuinely filled with bewilderment, not knowing why, wondering if he had offended this Yu at some point. Just as he was about to ask what was the matter, Yu directly spoke. Yi Luyun. With this call, not only Yi Luyun himself but also Zhao Kai and the other two subordinates beside him all turned to look at Yi Luyun. Their big eyes were full of doubt. Did she come looking for me? Although he didn't know the specific situation, after scratching his head in confusion, Yi Luyun still stood out, said with a straight face, Miss Yu, is there something you need? Yu didn't speak but directly threw something that looked like a rope to Yi Luyun. Yi Luyun, who hadn't reacted yet, subconsciously raised his hand to catch it. Before Yi Luyun could take a closer look at what it was, Zhao Kai, who was on the side, exclaimed in shock, Holy crap! A spirit binding rope! Spirit binding rope! When he heard this name, Yi Luyun was stunned for a moment. Then he immediately thought of what the spirit binding rope was. Holy crap! A treasure among spiritual artifacts, it has always been the companion of the Yu family's head. Although the spirit binding rope only reached the level of a spiritual artifact and did not reach the level of a divine artifact, among many spiritual artifacts, the spirit binding rope is quite powerful. The holder can use the spirit binding rope to freely bind the target opponent, and the stronger the opponent's spiritual power, the stronger the binding effect. Of course, this has a limit. After all, it is a spiritual artifact and will not be too outrageous. However, the higher the cultivation realm of the wielder, the higher the upper limit of the spirit binding rope would also become. I remember, in the original plot, after Yu became the male lead simp, she secretly gave her family's heirloom, the spirit binding rope, to the male lead. This thing can be considered the male lead's divine weapon in the early stages, allowing him to fight above his level multiple times, all thanks to the spirit binding rope. I just didn't expect, why would she give it to me? So, the original me would give this thing to that disgusting Long Tian. Hearing Yi Luyun's inner thoughts, Yu clenched her fists tightly. She became even more determined about what she had to do. Being a simp was absolutely impossible. I heard you're going to the Highland sect. With this spirit binding rope, you should be fine. Why is it that Feng Qianqin and Lu Jianan have both taken action? There's no reason for me not to. Not only will I give it, but I'll also directly throw out a trump card. If I don't get the chance this time, next time, no matter where you go, I will follow you. Before Yi Luyun could say anything, Yu directly shouted. So, you're still thinking about going to the Highland sect with me? With your daughter doting old man around, it's simply impossible. Actually, when Yu learned that Yi Luyun wanted to join the Highland sect, she told her family that she also wanted to join the Highland sect. But the result was obvious. No way. The current head of the Yu family was none other than Yu's father, Yu Zhinshan. After hearing his daughter's request, he refused without even thinking about it. Although usually, no matter how willful or not his daughter was, Yu Zhinshan would not. Looking at the spirit binding rope in her hand and then glancing at the earnest and determined hesitation in front of her, Yi Luyun really didn't know what to say. Something's not right. I seem to be just a lackey of the villain. First Feng Qianqin, then Lu Jianan, and now Yu. What the heck is this? Being fancied by one female lead is a pleasant surprise, but if it's three, triple the surprise. Chapter 35 Yu Zhinshan, crap, a pig has come to steal my cabbage. So, this Yu has also taken a liking to me. Hiss. Speaking of which, according to the plot description, this Yu is also someone who dares to love and hate. For the one she loves, she is truly willing to give everything. Too bad, she's an M. Originally, Yu was quite happy when she heard Yi Luyun's inner thoughts earlier, but it wasn't until the last sentence came out. That made Yu feel a little frustrated. What M? She wasn't some kind of M ever since she learned what Yi Luyun meant by this M. Yu only felt that her whole being was not well. The look in her eyes when she looked at Yi Luyun even carried a hint of resentment. Ha! Yi Luyun, who was examining the spirit-binding rope in his hand, was filled with confusion after noticing Yu Yu's gaze. He knew that a woman's emotions could change quickly, but he didn't expect it to be this fast. What's wrong? Realizing something, Yu Yu temporarily calmed her mood and said seriously, "Anyway, you can't have any accidents, you have to come back safe and sound." "I know." Afterward, Yu Yu ran straight away. She didn't know why. She clearly had a lot to say when she came, but when it really came to this moment, she didn't know what to say. Yi Luyun could only hold the spirit-binding rope and watch Yu Yu's departing figure. What a dreamlike day. At this moment, Zhao Kai's figure slowly approached. He looked at Yi Luyun, then at the spirit-binding rope in Yi Luyun's hand, and for a moment he didn't know what to say. The other two subordinates who followed also looked at Yi Luyun with complicated expressions. Envy. Deep envy. They had agreed to be servants together, but how did you directly get favored by Miss Yu from the Yu family? Well done. Zhao Kai was a bit more straightforward. Anyway, Yi Luyun was a member of their Zhao family. If Yi Luyun had any relationship with Yu Yu, wouldn't their Zhao family benefit from it? He just didn't know. If Zhao Kai knew that Feng Qianqin had also given Yi Luyun a spiritual artifact before, would he still be in the same mood? Young master, let's go to the Highland Sect first. Putting away the spirit-binding rope, Yi Luyun took the opportunity to look at Zhao Kai. Yes. Going to the Highland Sect is the most important thing. Too busy with watching the show, Zhao Kai hadn't forgotten his main purpose right now. As soon as he heard something related to Feng Qianqin, Zhao Kai no longer had the mind to think about anything else. He immediately returned to the carriage. Continue to the Highland Sect. Yes, young master. The coachman naturally didn't dare to have any objections. Poof. Yu Yu, humming a little tune, returned to her family. Just as she walked into the front hall, she saw her father sitting in the main seat, calmly drinking tea. After seeing his daughter return, Yu Zhinshan put down his teacup and quietly looked over. He didn't say anything, just looked. Dad. Having just stolen the spirit-binding rope, Yu Yu felt a little guilty being looked at like this. Well, if there's nothing else, I'll go back first. She wanted to slip away immediately. Wait. After saying this, Yu Zhinshan slowly spoke. Was the item sent out? As the head of the Yu family, Yu Zhinshan's strength and cultivation were naturally not weak. As something he always kept by his side, how could Yu Zhinshan not notice the spirit-binding rope being taken away by someone else? It was just that it was his daughter who took it, so Yu Zhinshan didn't stop her. Dad, you knew. Seeing that she had been discovered, there was obviously no need to hide it any longer. Do you really think your dad is blind? Anyway, I've already given the thing away. What do you want to do now? In any case, she had already given away the spirit-binding rope, so it was impossible to get it back. You looked as if she would let him do whatever. Yu Zhinshan naturally took this matter regarding his daughter very seriously. It's just that I heard that Zhao Kai has always been in love with Feng Qianqin of the Feng family. Can you be sure he likes you too? Originally, Yu Yu was a little embarrassed when she heard that her father wanted to help bring them. Dad, don't underestimate Lu Yun. Although he is a servant of the Zhao family now, his future will definitely be different. Seeing her father look down on Yi Luyun so much, Yu Yu was a little unhappy. Immediately, she defended Yi Luyun. In Yu Yu's opinion, every word she said was the truth, which could be seen from Yi Luyun's inner thoughts. That 9 revolutions mysterious skill, Grand Zenith heavenly immortal art. The other party will definitely be a very powerful existence in the future. But in Yu Zhinshan's opinion at this time, it was completely different. His daughter seemed to be suffering from lovesickness, being fooled by a hoodlum. Just thinking about a rascal possibly showing up in the future. One hand around his daughter, while calling himself an old fogey. Hiss. Damn it. He had the urge to kill someone. Dad, you are not allowed to do anything to Lu Yun. Yu Yu was not stupid. After thinking of something, she immediately said. In fact, Yu Zhinshan was indeed thinking just now whether he should set off now, catch up with Zhao Kai's carriage, and find that Yi Luyun. Achoo! Inside the carriage, Yi Luyun couldn't help but sneeze suddenly. What's going on? I feel like someone is thinking about me. As for catching a cold, that's definitely impossible. Do you really think my second-level Xiangong of the 9 revolutions mysterious technique is a joke? Catch a cold. Why do I feel a chill down my spine? Daughter, you've really been deceived. I haven't. Seeing his daughter's stubborn look, Yu Zhinshan couldn't say anything. In the end, he could only make an agreement. As long as that Yi Luyun can successfully join the Highland Sect, Yu Zhinshan will not go looking for him. This joining means becoming a disciple of the Highland Sect, not some kind of handyman. Yu Zhinshan knew that with the Zhao family's power, arranging for someone to enter the Highland Sect as a handyman wouldn't be a problem. But if it were a disciple, then it would be different. Even if Zhao Kai's father, Zhao Feng, were to step forward, Highland Sect would still not give him any face. Father, you're definitely going to lose. After making the agreement, Yu Yu's entire demeanor became much more relaxed. In Yu Yu's opinion, with Yi Luyun's excellence, becoming a disciple of Highland Sect would definitely be a simple matter. Yu Zhinshan didn't say anything. Anyway, right now, he just felt quite heartbroken. There were still about 100 li between Fire Forest City and Highland Sect. Relying solely on a horse carriage, wanting to arrive would still take some time. Finally arrived. By the time Yi Luyun and the others arrived, it was precisely the day Highland Sect was recruiting disciples. It could be seen that at this time, a considerable number of people had already gathered at the foot of Highland Sect's mountain. Is this Highland Sect? It's really imposing, no wonder it's the main storyline in the early stages. Many of the early stage plots take place within this Highland Sect. It can be said that the male protagonist, Long Tian, is someone who achieved great success in Highland Sect. The tall mountain peaks soared straight into the clouds, and the mountain peaks were surrounded by spiritual energy. It looked like a blessed haven for immortals. Go back and get your reward, Zhao Kai first said to the coachman, waved his hand, and told him he could leave. The road ahead was not suitable for carriages. Thank you, young master. Hearing what Zhao Kai said, the coachman respectfully responded, then drove the carriage away. There were quite a few others who had arrived in carriages like Zhao Kai. There were also many wealthy young masters dressed in silk and satin, and of course, there was no shortage of those from poor families who wanted to defy fate through cultivation. Highland Sect, I'm here. Many of them were clenching their fists and cheering themselves on. Seeing this scene, Yi Luyun simply shook his head and said nothing. This is the real world now, not some movie or TV series. There is only one chosen one, and everyone else is just an extra. The world of cultivation has never been a kind world. Don't think that you can rest easy after successfully cultivating. Stories of the demonic sect sacrificing tens of thousands of people just to cultivate some kind of demonic art are also circulating. It can only be said that sometimes weakness is the true original sin. Let us go. After saying this, Zhao Kai took the lead and walked ahead. Yi Luyun, who had snapped out of it, also followed naturally. Compared to Yi Luyun's composure, the other two subordinates Zhao Kai brought seemed a little excited. The Highland Sect was close at hand. Once they successfully became disciples of the Highland Sect, they would no longer need to be lowly servants. To enter the Highland Sect, one must first climb this towering mountain. The location of the Highland Sect is on top of this mountain. This can be considered the first test. If one can't even climb such a mountain, then there's no need to seek apprenticeship. It was fine at the beginning, but the higher they went, the more people they saw along the way who had stopped to rest due to exhaustion. They were preparing to continue after they had recovered some strength. Why young master, how about we take a break for now? Although Zhao Kai had been focused on Feng Qianqin, he had also cultivated the family's immortal techniques, and his own cultivation had also reached the martial master realm. Climbing such a mountain peak was not a difficult task. But the two subordinates who had come with Zhao Kai were finding it a bit too much. They were already covered in sweat. Indeed. Young master, anyway, there are still a few days before the Highland Sect recruits disciples. We have plenty of time to rest. If you want to rest, then rest on your own. Just thinking that Feng Qianqin was up there at the Highland Sect, how could Zhao Kai listen to them? Look at Yi Luyun, how come he isn't tired at all? Seeing that Yi Luyun beside him didn't show the slightest sign of fatigue, Zhao Kai said somewhat displeased to the two servants. Yi Luyun didn't expect that this could involve him. Blame me. With his physical body realm being stronger, even if he went back and forth dozens of times on such a mountain, Yi Luyun would not feel tired. No choice. After hearing this, the two servants could only grit their teeth and continue to follow. With the opportunity to cultivate immortality right in front of them, they didn't want to give up no matter what. Chapter 37 Officially entering the Highland Sect. After successfully ascending the mountain, there are two ways to enter the Highland Sect. One is for those who have never cultivated before, testing whether they have the aptitude for immortal cultivation. If they don't, they can only return the way they came. The other is for cultivators who have already cultivated spiritual energy, recording their cultivation realm. As expected of the Highland Sect, after all, it's a millennia-old immortal sect. If it didn't have a complete set of rules, it wouldn't have been able to last until now. The Highland Sect has been able to pass down for thousands of years, naturally having a complete set of rules. After entering the Highland Sect, there will be people specifically assigned to arrange accommodation. Now, all that's left is to wait for the new disciples competition to begin. If I remember correctly, after the days of recruiting disciples are over, that's when the competition begins. In that case, it won't take many days. It's a good opportunity to familiarize myself with everything about the Highland Sect. After all, novels are just novels, and many aspects are not described comprehensively enough. It's still necessary to see it in person. Master. At the same time, on Feng Qianqin's side, she had been following Shui Yueshan to cultivate, but after hearing Yi Luyun's inner voice that he had arrived at the Highland Sect, she couldn't contain herself. She wanted to go and see. However, this teacher has said many times, remember to avoid being impetuous when cultivating. Before she could finish speaking, she was reprimanded. Because there was a disciple before who died from cultivation deviation due to an unstable state of mind during cultivation. Shui Yueshan always taught her disciples to cultivate their minds before cultivating their skills and not to be impetuous. Sorry, master. Really. Hearing this, Feng Qianqin was immediately delighted. Feng Qianqin knew that her master, Shui Yuashan, originally had 2 other direct disciples, but one died from cultivation deviation and the other went out to eliminate demons and defend the righteous path, only to die at the hands of demonic cultivators. Since then, Shui Yuashan had not accepted any disciples for over 100 years. She herself had entered Shui Yuashan's tutelage by chance. If Yi Luyun also became Shui Yuashan's direct disciple, wouldn't she be able to be with Yi Luyun day and night then? It's not entirely for your sake. Seeing through Feng Qianqin's thoughts, Shui Yuashan explained indifferently. With Shui Yuashan's strength, cultivation, and way of conducting herself, she has always done what she wants, without needing to dissemble or conceal anything. It just so happens that I also want to know what kind of scheme he is talking about that is targeted at me. Yi Luyun had vaguely mentioned it in his inner thoughts before. The future version of herself would become Long Tian's woman due to a scheme, and this scheme was inextricably linked to Long Tian himself. Shui Yuashan was eager to know what kind of scheme it was. Speaking of this, Shui Yuashan's eyes narrowed slightly, and a bit of sharpness appeared on her face, which was originally as indifferent as a chrysanthemum. Feng Qianqin also knew Yi Luyun's inner thoughts, so she naturally understood what her master meant. Disciple understands. In any case, with Shui Yuashan's words, she didn't need to be too anxious. If they cultivated in the same place, there would definitely be many opportunities to meet, so there was no need to rush for a day or two. Focus on your cultivation. Seeing that Feng Qianqin no longer mentioned going to find Yi Luyun, Shui Yuashan said a simple sentence and entered a state of cultivation. During this period of time when the Highland Sect recruited disciples, it was the most lively. Every day, you could see many people gathered at the foot of the mountain, all climbing the peaks of the Highland Sect. It was a pity that those with cultivation were naturally not afraid of anything. But if one doesn't have cultivation, they can only rely on perseverance. There are even some who simply faint from exhaustion on the way up the mountain. That's considered lucky. As if he couldn't believe that Yi Luyun would actually appear here. You have cultivation. Zhao Kai wasn't truly stupid and immediately realized it. Yi Luyun scratched his head and said, pretending to be embarrassed, I got lucky before and found a celestial art and cultivated some spiritual energy. Is that so? Nodding, Zhao Kai actually believed it without any suspicion. Instead, he offered a compliment. Your luck is pretty good. In any case, having successfully entered the gates of the Highland Sect, Zhao Kai would no longer look at Yi Luyun with the eyes he reserved for a house servant. Cultivate diligently. If you achieve something in your cultivation, I can ask my father to give you a guest elder position. If you don't want it, you can leave our Zhao family at any time. Cultivators are rare to begin with. In addition, disciples of the Highland Sect are naturally protected by the Highland Sect. Zhao Kai wouldn't blindly say that his Zhao family was the sky and everything. Then I thank you, young master. Such a good tool, I'll keep him around for now. No hurry to leave. At least let this fool of a young master take the blame for me a few more times first. By the way, where are those 2? Yi Luyun remembered the 2 servants who came with him. Although they were half dead along the way, they eventually gritted their teeth and kept up. They should have also successfully entered the Highland Sect. In the original plot, there was no Zhao Kai, so Yi Luyun naturally didn't know the situation of those 2 people. Them. Saying this, Zhao Kai simply waved his hand. All were tested and found to have no aptitude for cultivation and have now gone to do odd jobs. This is the normal situation. Cultivating immortality emphasizes aptitude. It is very difficult for even 1 person out of 100 to have the aptitude for cultivating immortality. Otherwise, Zhao Kai wouldn't have been so surprised after seeing Yi Luyun appear here. I see. Cultivating immortality is not easy. No wonder so many people choose the cultivation methods of the demonic path. He shook his head slightly. Righteous cultivation of immortality requires aptitude, but the demonic path does not. Anyone can cultivate. But the methods of cultivation are basically of the kind that harm others to benefit oneself, which are spurned by the people of the world. But even so, even though righteous immortal sects come out to eliminate demons every year, the demonic path is still enduring because in this world, there is never a shortage of people who can give up everything for the sake of cultivating immortality. Putting away these thoughts, Yi Luyun looked at Zhao Kai again. Is Master Zhao also going to sign up to participate in the new disciple competition? In the original storyline, Zhao Kai never came to this Highland Sect. The current plot development has completely changed. That's right. Perhaps he felt that Yi Luyun had been his family servant after all. So when facing Yi Luyun, there was nothing he couldn't say. Zhao Kai directly expressed his inner thoughts. I heard on the way here that the new disciple competition every year is very lively. The sect leader and all the elders will appear at that time. Qianqin will definitely appear as well. If I can perform well. The more he spoke, the more excited Zhao Kai became. In the end, he was so excited that he couldn't speak. But Yi Luyun understood the meaning. He probably wanted to perform well to attract Feng Qianqin's attention. Too bad, silly young master, the woman you're thinking about is already mine. Pa! Feng Qianqin, who was cultivating, immediately spat softly after hearing this inner voice. What's yours? Nothing has happened yet. However, despite what she said, not only was there not a hint of displeasure between Feng Qianqin's brows, but there was also a hint of shyness. Shui Yuashan, directly opposite, merely raised her eyes for a glance before continuing her cultivation. Love and affection, these things had long ceased to matter to Shui Yuashan, who had been cultivating for who knows how many years. However, wouldn't I be considered immoral if I did this? Looking at Zhao Kai, whose face was full of hope and who was fantasizing about something, Long Tian also felt that this Zhao Kai was inexplicably irritating. I didn't expect you to join the Highland sect as well. Meeting Long Tian's gaze, Zhao Kai said directly, give up. Qianqin is not a woman someone like you can covet. Give up early. He thought that this Long Tian, like himself, had come to the Highland sect for Feng Qianqin, courting death. Long Tian didn't speak, but the gaze he cast was even colder. His fists clenched, his eyes fixed on Zhao Kai. Even Yi Luyun, who had previously hit him, was unconsciously ignored by Long Tian. Humph. Long Tian didn't directly attack, perhaps feeling that this was the Highland sect and there were many people around. But it doesn't matter. Since you're also participating in the newcomer competition, then I will definitely let you know my true strength. He desired to use a certain immortal technique he had just obtained recently and confidently smiled. After a cold snort, he walked towards a position further ahead. Chapter 39. How can the male lead not have a lucky fatty by his side? Oh ho! The male lead has grown. He actually didn't make a move. Seeing Long Tian's reaction, Yi Luyun raised his eyebrows in surprise. Originally, with Long Tian's always arrogant and self-centered attitude, he would directly resort to violence when encountering something unpleasant. He didn't expect him to endure it this time. Looks like, after suffering setbacks several times in a row, the male lead has also started to learn. After suffering so many setbacks, Long Tian has obviously grown. However, Yi Luyun didn't care. Anyway, no matter how you grow, as long as it doesn't affect my sign and plot, that's fine. TCH, he stopped talking. I thought he was so great. Seeing that Long Tian didn't refute him, Zhao Kai was filled with contempt. He simply believed that Long Tian had chickened out. TSK. As expected of you, you foolish young master. Putting everything else aside, you sure are brave. I was just wondering how to draw Long Tian's main attention to Zhao Kai, but you jumped out yourself. Good heavens, is this the legendary scapegoat physique? Yi Luyun's words made the female protagonists who heard his inner thoughts couldn't help but chuckle. They had heard of some special physiques, but the scapegoat physique was truly the first they had ever heard of. You must have taken all the bamboo shoots from the mountain. The line of people began to grow longer and longer. Just then, a young man with a somewhat bloated figure and dressed in luxurious brocade robes walked over with a smile. Greetings, fellow brothers. The excess flesh on his face gave people a simple and honest feeling when he smiled. Oh ho! A daddy's boy has appeared. The instant he saw the other person, Yi Luyun raised his eyebrows, evidently recognizing their identity. Daddy's boy. Such a term made the female protagonist somewhat puzzled. It was the first time they'd heard it. Just then, the stout man smiled and introduced himself to Zhao Kai's group. I am Wang Xiaozhuang, the young master of the 100 Swords Manor of the Wang family in Qingyun City. The power dynamics of Qingyun City are similar to those of Fire Forest City. The 100 Swords Manor holds a position in Qingyun City equivalent to that of the Zhao family in Fire Forest City. Both are top-tier wealthy families. However, even Zhao Kai was surprised by this self-introduction method of stating one's background right from the start. So straightforward. Hello? One doesn't strike a smiling face. Since the other party had come over to greet them with such a smile, the people around, including Zhao Kai, nodded in response. Such a familiar self-introduction style. It's exactly the same as in the novel. Others may not know. But Yi Luyun knew that, according to the novel's setting, Wang Xiaozhuang always introduced himself this way. Speaking of which, almost every novel protagonist has a lucky fat guy by their side to play the comedic role. This is Wang Xiaozhuang's setup, simple-minded and lucky. It can be said that Long Tian's rapid growth in the future was largely due to things that Wang Xiaozhuang found and then sent over. After all, in a standard power fantasy novel, naturally all the good things belong to the male lead. This young master Wang is specifically here to deliver treasures to the male protagonist, Long Tian. Wang Xiaozhuang smiled genially as he explained. That's a good habit to have, but you also have to be careful about running into scammers. After all, you can't know what's in someone's heart, and who knows what the other person is thinking. My dad said that even if you get scammed 99 times, it's worth it if you can make one true friend. Did Brother Wang come to this Highland sect to cultivate diligently as well? My dad said, I don't need to achieve much in the future, accumulating some connections is always good. Brother Wang. My dad said. Originally, the conversation was going quite well. But as the conversation continued, the way everyone looked at young Master Wang became increasingly strange. Why is it always my dad said this and my dad said that all day long? Don't you have anything of your own to say? Brother Wang's father must be a very impressive person. Of course, my dad is the most amazing person in the world. Speaking of this, young Master Wang's expression clearly became especially proud. Looking at young Master Wang like this, what else could the people around him say? Ha ha ha. Indeed, novels and real people are completely different. When reading novels, it might feel okay. But when such a person actually appears before your eyes, it feels even more interesting. Gentlemen, I'll go and get acquainted with some other people first. We'll chat again later. Young Master Wang didn't feel anything amiss at all, and instead, he was thinking of going to make friends with some other people. Brother Wang, please do as you wish. Knowing that Wang Xiaozhuang had no other intentions, everyone naturally did not stop him. They just felt it was novel, never expecting to encounter such an interesting person. Are all the aristocratic sons outside like this? Zhao Kai couldn't help but mutter. Before this, he had never left Fire Plume City. This was the first time he had encountered an aristocratic son from outside Fire Plume City, and he felt that they were different from what he had imagined. I am Wang Xiaozhuang, the young master of 100 Swords Manor of the Wang family in Azure Cloud City. At this moment, Wang Xiaozhuang had already approached other people to start conversations. Chapter 40. I haven't even made a move, and the plot is already collapsing. With this socially adept way of speaking, even if some people felt strange, they would still politely respond. He's about to run into Long Tian, isn't he? Yi Luyun noticed that Wang Xiaozhuang was getting closer and closer to the male lead, Long Tian. According to the original plot, the first person Wang Xiaozhuang approached was the male lead, Long Tian. But because of what just happened, Long Tian walked forward a bit. But it probably doesn't matter. They'll be able to meet anyway. In the original plot, the male protagonist, Long Tian, and Wang Xiaozhuang were in a state of harmonious conversation. I wonder if that will be the case now. I am Wang Xiaozhuang, of Qingyun City Wang family. Finally, after conversing with several groups of people, Wang Xiaozhuang arrived next to Long Tian. For some unknown reason, Wang Xiaozhuang inexplicably felt that Long Tian was pleasing to the eye. The smile on his face became even more pronounced, and he introduced himself in the same way as before. But this time, get lost. Before he could finish speaking, Long Tian said coldly. Perhaps it was the first time he had encountered such a direct scolding. Even when he had encountered some arrogant people in the past, at most they would ignore him after a few words. He had never encountered someone who directly told him to get lost. The smile on Wang Xiaozhuang's face froze slightly. Naive as he may be, Wang Xiaozhuang wasn't the kind of fool who would continue to shamelessly push forward after being scolded. But thinking of that inexplicable sense of connection, Wang Xiaozhuang forced a smile and continued. Brother, did something upset you, so your temper is not so good? My dad said, it's useless for a person to sulk. If you don't mind, I can. He was just about to say he could tell him his troubles and help him sort out his feelings. But, didn't you hear me? I told you to get lost. What responded to Wang Xiaozhuang was still this cold reprimand. The reason why Long Tian was like this was purely because he saw the situation where Wang Xiaozhuang in front of him was having a pleasant conversation with Zhao Kai just now. He thought this person had a good relationship with Zhao Kai, and along with that, his hostility towards Zhao Kai also involved Wang Xiaozhuang in front of him. Seeing Wang Xiaozhuang's silence, Long Tian said with a mocking look, "What? Are the aristocratic families so shameless now? You still want to stay here even when I told you to get lost?" Long Tian was quite dissatisfied with the status of aristocratic family children. Especially when he thought of being ridiculed and mocked in the Feng family, Long Tian clenched his fists even tighter. What's so great about it? Even if I, Long Tian, am not from a prominent family, my future achievements will definitely not be weaker than anyone else's. Since you say so, I will take my leave. Even with such a good temperament, being spoken to like that in public, the expression on Wang Xiaozhuang's face still turned cold. After saying that, he left directly. What's going on? Yi Luyun, who had been paying attention to the situation here, was suddenly stunned. Did they fall apart? That shouldn't be happening. Wait, if there's no Wang Xiaozhuang, this lucky fatty, in the future, will Long Tian still be able to grow so fast? Good heavens, Yi Luyun really didn't expect this. The male lead and his loyal follower have collapsed before they even began. Moreover, Long Tian originally didn't feel anything. But after seeing Wang Xiaozhuang's departing figure, he couldn't help but frown. For some inexplicable reason, he felt as if he had lost something very important. It couldn't possibly be this fatty. No, impossible. Long Tian immediately denied it, taking it as just an illusion. How could a mere fatty be of any help to him? Good heavens, they really fell out. Seeing that young Master Wang had really left, Yi Luyun didn't know what to say for a moment. I really didn't want to change things like this. It shouldn't have anything to do with me, right? Logically speaking, although he knew this part of the plot, Yi Luyun really didn't want to change anything. Yi Luyun didn't intend to prevent Long Tian, the male protagonist, from getting any help. However, he hadn't done anything, and the plot had collapsed on its own. The number of plots that are going to collapse in the future will probably increase. It was probably because there were too many people who signed up. It took 2 or 3 days to finish. At this time, the Highland sect also stopped recruiting disciples. Those who didn't come during this period would have to wait for the next time. 3 days later, the new disciple competition officially began. The competition venue was located outside the main hall of the Highland sect. Here was a large training ground, usually a place where many disciples cultivated together, covering a vast area. By the time Yi Luyun arrived, the place was already packed with people. Besides those participating in the competition, there were also some older generation disciples who were purely there to join in the fun and watch the show. There are so many people. This is the Highland sect. I heard that the sect master of the Highland sect will appear later. I wonder if I can be favored by an elder. Yi Luyun heard many people sighing, or expressing their expectations. This is too big. Zhao Kai, standing beside him, couldn't help but exclaim as he looked around. Although the Zhao family had a significant status in Firewind City, compared to this Highland sect, it really wasn't much. He felt like a country bumpkin. No wonder, before he went into seclusion, his father told him that within Firewind City, it didn't matter who he provoked, but he should never provoke the disciples of immortal sects like the Highland sect. Just as the atmosphere was reaching its peak, all the disciples of the Highland sect felt a jolt on their shoulders for some inexplicable reason. The new entrants were unclear, but the older generation knew that the elders were about to arrive. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. It was as if meteors were streaking across the sky. Accompanied by beams of spiritual energy, a dozen or so dignified figures streaked across the sky and appeared above the Highland sect. Putting aside everything else, this display is quite the act. The style immediately went up a notch. Within the Highland sect, there are 18 main elders, each managing different affairs. There are also 20 or 30 secondary elders. These are basically nominal elders who don't manage affairs but still enjoy the resources of the Highland sect. If something happens to the Highland sect, these elders will also step forward. In fact, it's similar to being a guest elder. But without exception, even the weakest elder can reach the martial god realm. Disciples greet the elders. The older generation of disciples reacted quickly. Those who can come here are basically those who have not yet become true disciples. The reason for coming was partly to watch the show, and partly with the thought that perhaps some elder would find them pleasing to the eye and accept them as direct disciples. Disciples pay respects to the elders. The newly initiated disciples, seeing this situation, hurriedly followed suit with respectful greetings. Chapter 41, Even the dogs on the road hide when they see him. In the crowd, Yi Luyun watched with a bored expression. He didn't need to become anyone's direct disciple, he just wanted to watch a show, eat some melons gossip, and then collect a daily check-in reward. I wonder what kind of reward I'll get from the check-in this time. For body refinement, there's the 9 revolutions mystic technique for cultivating the nascent soul, there's the grand celestial immortal art. Therefore, no matter what kind of reward he gets from the check-in this time, Yi Luyun wouldn't be disappointed. Here he comes. Here he comes. It's the sect leader. The sect leader has appeared. Just as Yi Luyun was looking forward to the next check-in reward, the exclamations in his ears interrupted his thoughts. He looked up. He saw that in the most central position above the main hall, a magnificent figure slowly appeared before everyone's eyes. That was the sect master of the Highland sect, Shui Yueshan. So beautiful. She looks so gentle. If only I could become a direct disciple of the sect master. With you. The one who will become a direct disciple of the sect master is me. What did you say? Spiritual energy surrounded her, coupled with her dignified and graceful appearance. Just standing there would make many people intoxicated. As for Yi Luyun, beautiful is indeed beautiful. After all, she is a female lead. How could she not be beautiful? But you say gentle. He. You probably don't know how fierce this woman used to be. Shui Yueshan, who had just appeared, suddenly had a stiff expression. Fortunately, her state of mind was sufficient, otherwise she would really not be able to hold back. Feng Qianqin, who appeared together following behind, silently prayed for Yi Luyun in her heart after seeing some emotional changes in her master. You really can't say anymore. Qianqin. It's Qianqin. Among the crowd, the sharp-eyed Zhao Kai had already discovered Feng Qianqin, who appeared with Shui Yueshan. His entire being was filled with delight. Look quickly, Qianqin is looking at me. Noticing that Feng Qianqin's gaze seemed to be directed towards him, Zhao Kai was even more overjoyed. Yi Luyun didn't speak but simply followed his gaze. His eyes met with Feng Qianqin's. Although there were many people around, Yi Luyun knew that Feng Qianqin was looking at him at this moment. That gentle smile from that day, I'm afraid I won't be able to forget it in this lifetime. For no reason, he recalled the situation when Feng Qianqin came to deliver the spirit Dupat to him that day, her gentle smile like a celestial fairy. Such inner thoughts also made Feng Qianqin feel a sweetness in her heart. I've decided. Before Yi Luyun could continue thinking about anything else, he heard Zhao Kai's firm and earnest voice coming from the side. I must become a disciple of the Highland sect master. Zhao Kai's idea was simple. Since Feng Qianqin was the direct disciple of sect leader Shui Yueshan, if he could also become one, wouldn't that mean he could see Feng Qianqin every day in the future? Excited. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. Young master truly has ambition. Yi Luyun nodded perfunctorily. You really dare to think. Not only Zhao Kai but many people around him had the same idea. After all, the direct disciple of the sect leader definitely holds a different status. Anyway, if you guys want to do it, then go ahead. I won't do it. That woman is fierce. Shui Yueshan's mood, which had just calmed down, was stirred up again. Woman. Fierce. Very well, it has been many years since anyone dared to say that about me. You don't want to become my disciple, right? Then I insist that you do. I'll watch you every day and see what you can do about it. At this time, Yi Luyun didn't know that he had been targeted. He continued to think to himself. Although she seems gentle now, according to the plot, this person once held the title of demon exterminating maniac. When she first became the sect master of the Highland sect, due to her identity as a woman and the fact that her cultivation level wasn't the highest in the sect, she suffered a lot of gossip. This Shui Yueshan also had a clear plan. Since you don't accept me, then I'll make you accept me. If I can't attack fellow disciples, then I'll attack the people of the demonic sect. She spent hundreds of years single-mindedly destroying demonic sects, either destroying them or on the way to destroying them every day. The number of demonic sects directly wiped out by Shui Yueshan is countless. She killed to the point where even people in her own sect felt chilled, fearing they would be cut down along with them, and then no one dared to say anything. There was such a thing. Feng Qianqin's eyes were surprised. This was the first time Feng Qianqin had heard of these things. She looked at Shui Yueshan in front of her with surprise. And she never killed the innocent indiscriminately. Those who died at Shui Yueshan's hands were all demonic sect disciples who had committed heinous acts. In the end, to become the sect leader of this Highlands, as a woman, and to do it. His old bones really couldn't withstand 2 punches from Shui Yueshan. Fortunately, Shui Yueshan's bad mood was not because of the first elder's affairs. After hearing, their minds were filled with thoughts of how, if they could perform well and be favored by the second elder, they could learn such immortal techniques. This is the real world of cultivation. Even if they are fellow disciples, they will fight each other under equal cultivation levels. The cultivator who cultivates a higher quality immortal technique is definitely more powerful. Moreover, this gap is difficult to overcome. Becoming Feng Qianqin's junior apprentice, wouldn't I be able to see Feng Qianqin every day then? The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. As soon as the previous competition ended, Zhao Kai lightly leaped and flew onto the arena. Come, let's battle, Long Tian. His gaze arrogantly turned to Long Tian's location. Following his line of sight, everyone also saw Long Tian in the crowd. Humph. With a soft humph, Long Tian, whose entire demeanor was ice cold, did not choose to lightly leap onto the arena. Instead, he walked over step by step. Yet, it was precisely this action that made many people feel that this person named Long Tian was definitely an extraordinary individual. TSK, what is show-off? Isn't this foolish young master clearly giving Long Tian a chance to act cool? It's like delivering himself to the door for others to show off. TSK. Too lazy to dwell on it. Anyway, this foolish young master hasn't been foolish for just a day or two. After this match ends, it won't be long before it's my turn, right? Yi Luyun didn't feel concerned about his opponent. Just a minor character, what was there to worry about? Just then, senior brother, a youth dressed in the attire of a Highland sect handyman quickly walked over. A senior sister asked me to give this to you. As he spoke, he handed Yi Luyun what appeared to be an envelope. Then he quickly left. This is... Not even giving Yi Luyun a chance to ask. Seeing the other party leave, Yi Luyun raised his eyebrows and looked at the envelope in his hand. After opening it, inside was a neat line of writing. Feng Bohai is from the Feng family of Qingyun City, a scion of a noble family, skilled in the illusionary spirit steps and shattering heart palm. Qingyun City. Is he like the young master Wang of Hundred Swords manner? Yi Luyun didn't care what the opponent was good at. Instead, he focused on the handwriting. Such delicate handwriting. Feng Qianqin. Although he had never seen Feng Qianqin's handwriting, such delicate writing shouldn't be from a man. And in this Highland sect, a woman writing him such a letter, reminding him of some information about his opponent. Besides Feng Qianqin, there seems to be no other possibility, right? Thinking of this, Yi Luyun raised his head and looked in Feng Qianqin's direction. Silly girl. Feng Qianqin was also looking at Yi Luyun. Hearing this inner voice, Feng Qianqin smiled knowingly. Even knowing that Yi Luyun's strength was quite remarkable due to his so-called sign-in ability, Feng Qianqin couldn't help but worry. Therefore, after learning the name of Yi Luyun's opponent, she wrote this letter and had someone deliver it. Water Moonseeder, noticing the change in her disciple's emotions, merely glanced over before withdrawing her gaze. She wasn't stupid. Water Moonseeder had seen everything Feng Qianqin had done, but she simply hadn't stopped her. Oh well, there aren't any rules in the Highland sect prohibiting disciples from engaging in romantic relationships, as long as it doesn't interfere with cultivation. However, is love really that good? Before becoming the sect master of the Highland sect, Water Moonseeder had no shortage of suitors, but at that time, Water Moonseeder was focused on cultivation and had no time for such things. After becoming the sect master of the Highland sect, she was busy eliminating the demonic sects, leaving her with even less time. Once everything settled down, those who had once pursued Shui Yuashan all disappeared at once. They were truly afraid. At that time, Shui Yuashan's reputation was at its peak, and they were all afraid of angering her, fearing they'd be directly slapped into ashes. And so it has continued until now. Shui Yuashan really doesn't know what it feels like to like someone. Today, I will properly teach you a lesson, so you understand what the consequences are for setting your sights on someone you shouldn't. For some reason, as soon as he saw this Long Tian, Zhao Kai felt inexplicably angry. He actually wanted a marriage contract to court Feng Qianqin. As soon as Long Tian stepped onto the dueling stage, Zhao Kai couldn't wait to shout loudly. Upon hearing these words, Long Tian's expression remained unchanged, but his eyes clearly became much sharper. He raised his hand and hooked his fingers in Zhao Kai's direction. The meaning was self-evident. Courting death. As expected, Zhao Kai was enraged by Long Tian's provocative actions. Indeed, even with the villain's halo, he still can't compare to Long Tian's protagonist halo. This is clearly a case of being dumbed down. Dumb him down even more, and the young master will become a complete idiot. Chapter 44, Blood Ignition Technique. A future cheat arrives early. Yes. Feng Qianqin, hearing this inner voice, nodded in agreement. Although she had no feelings for Zhao Kai, as fellow scions of Fire Forest City's aristocratic families, she knew a little about him. Zhao Kai was neither flamboyant nor a playboy. It was impossible that he would get angry simply because of Long Tian's provocative action. This protagonist halo is indeed terrifying. However, Feng Qianqin was not worried. At the beginning, Feng Qianqin also realized that she would be affected by the protagonist's halo. But as long as she heard Yi Luoyun's inner voice, the effect of that influence would disappear. Thinking of this, Feng Qianqin looked at Yi Luoyun with affection in her eyes. In truth, he had already been helped by Yi Luoyun since very early on. Bang! Two waves of powerful spiritual energy collided, and a violent gale spread outwards. A cultivator in the martial master realm could already be considered a minor expert in the world of cultivation. So many disciples enter the sect each year, but very few can directly reach the martial master realm. Martial master realm. Some of the elders, who had not paid much attention before, were somewhat surprised after seeing such fluctuations of spiritual energy. Not bad. His gaze held admiration. Finally, two good seedlings had emerged. As for those disciples who had not yet taken the stage, their faces were filled with relief, thankful that their opponents were not these two fellows. Otherwise, the difference in realms would be enough to instantly kill them. How is this possible? Seeing that Long Tian before him was able to stalemate him with spiritual energy, Zhao Kai was clearly astonished. He originally thought that he could defeat the opponent with one strike, but he did not expect that the opponent's strength was actually not much different from his own. Before this, Zhao Kai had never believed that this Long Tian possessed any real strength. What asks this? Is this all there is to the Zhao family's young master Zhao from Fire Forest City? The surprised and admiring gazes around him made Long Tian feel great. Yes, this was the feeling. This situation of being the center of attention was the real him. He should be the most dazzling one. You're courting death. Under the continuous influence of the protagonist's halo dulling his mind, Zhao Kai became even more furious upon hearing Long Tian's contempt for him. The spiritual energy throughout his body surged explosively. Die! Boom! Powerful spiritual energy erupted from Zhao Kai's body. Seeing this, Long Tian frowned and resisted with both hands. His figure was blasted away by the eruption of spiritual energy. Even within the same realm, there are differences in strength. Moreover, the quality of the ancestral immortal technique Zhao Kai cultivated was higher than the technique Long Tian cultivated. Ha ha ha! Having succeeded with one strike, Zhao Kai not only did not press the attack but instead laughed triumphantly. So what if you are at the martial master realm? The quality of the ancestral immortal technique I cultivate has reached the mid-grade earth rank. You can never be my opponent. To be honest, how foolish. Doesn't he know that villains die from talking too much? If you can act, never blather. This is the concept Yi Luoyun has always adhered to. Completely reduced to an idiot. Next, it should be the protagonist's time to show off, right? However, without that 5th grade bone-breaking and tendon-mending pill, Yi Luoyun really wants to know how Long Tian will manage to pull it off. Middle grade earth rank. Patting the spot that was just bombarded by spiritual energy, Long Tian smiled with disdain. Immortal techniques are basically divided into heaven, earth, black, and yellow 4 grades, and each grade has upper, middle, and lower levels. It was then that Yi Luoyun, standing below the arena and watching Long Tian with his entire body engulfed in blood-colored flames, was instantly stunned. Burning blood technique. Isn't that an technique Long Tian obtained? Undying blood sutra. Heaven rank top grade. At this moment, even Shui Yuashan was surprised. He only cultivated a heaven-rank low-grade immortal technique. Yet, the Highland sect treasures it as if it were a priceless gem, allowing only the sect leader to cultivate it. Unexpectedly, this Long Tian actually obtained a fragment of a heaven-rank high-grade immortal technique. And judging from what he said, the future Long Tian will be able to gather all 3 fragments and transform them into a true heaven rank high grade immortal technique. Absurd! Truly absurd! At this moment, Shui Yuashan gained a deeper understanding of the protagonist's aura that Yi Luyun spoke of. Shui Yuashan's surprise was also noticed by the surrounding elders. However, none of them took it seriously, simply assuming that she was so surprised because she had found a good seedling for cultivation. Realizing this, the elders who were originally arguing about taking Long Tian as a direct disciple all quieted down. After all, if Shui Yuashan, as the Sect leader, was determined to take a direct disciple, then even if they argued more fiercely here, it would be meaningless. Among the 3 methods, the blood ignition method burns one's own blood energy, while the blood seizure method steals the blood energy of others, which means the blood ignition method can be used without consumption. The author probably felt that such an arrangement would make the protagonist's image look very bad. Therefore, the final blood accumulation method was arranged, which is also the most crucial of the 3 methods, using oneself as a furnace to accumulate blood energy. However, thinking of this, Yi Luyun inexplicably turned his head and looked at the fat man in the crowd. That is, Wang Xiaozhuan. Others are not clear about the intricacies involved, but only Yi Luyun himself is clear. If I remember correctly, the last blood accumulation method was actually found by Wang Xiaozhuan unintentionally and then given to Long Tian. Wang Xiaozhuan's role in the book is like the protagonist's little brother and follower. Anything good, the first person he thinks of is the protagonist, Long Tian. But now, given the current situation, even if Wang Xiaozhuan finds the blood accumulation method, he probably won't give it to Long Tian in. Even Long Tian could not violate this point. He certainly wouldn't die, but he would have to suffer a bit. Forget it. Don't let such a good scapegoat physique be ruined. That's why they say the protagonist's halo is so outrageous. Just when you think he's down, he activates his cheat and directly ascends to the heavens. Angry. Would a lion feel angry because of the provocation of an ant? Yi Luyun only found it somewhat amusing. Then please enlighten me. Yi Luyun cupped his hands, looking at Feng Bohai before him, assuming a posture as if waiting for the other party to make a move. This scene made many people think that Yi Luyun knew he was no match, so he was simply giving up. Likes to act, huh? Not only will I kill, but I will also destroy your spirit. See if you dare to act tough again in the future. Do you really think this young master has no temper? Such heartfelt thoughts brought knowing smiles to both Shui Yuashan and Feng Qianqin. Cultivation is about competition. It's good to have a temper. If you have no temper at all, what's the point of cultivating immortality? Humph. Yi Luyun's seemingly unguarded movements only made Feng Bohai's initially indifferent gaze turn even more contemptuous. Then I shall be impolite. As soon as the words fell, Feng Bohai's figure transformed into a phantom, disappearing from where he stood. This was precisely Feng Bohai's family-inherited immortal technique, the illusory spirit movement. In addition to this, there was also the heart-shattering palm. Seeing Feng Bohai disappear before his eyes, Yi Luyun was not surprised, merely waiting patiently. The next moment, the just vanished Feng Bohai suddenly reappeared in front of him. Heart-shattering palm. A palm strike enveloped in spiritual energy directly struck Yi Luyun's body. With a nimble movement technique coupled with a palm strike that guarantees a kill, even cultivators of the same realm would find it difficult to withstand such an attack. Feng Bohai's cultivation, although not reaching the martial master realm like Zhao Kai and Long Tian, had still attained the martial warrior realm. Among the newly initiated disciples, he could be considered quite good. Bang! In the eyes of outsiders, Yi Luyun didn't have enough time to dodge. But in reality, Yi Luyun was simply too lazy to dodge. He just stood there, firmly rooted to the spot, as the powerful shattering heart